How's it going? How's it going? I'm Godless Owen. How's everybody doing? I'm here with Commander 401. How are you?
Ah, excellent. Great
Awesome.
night.
Phoenix, as always, how are you?
I am doing pretty good. I'm definitely exhausted. An allergy season is starting to kick in the year that winter never ended, but
Oops, that phone's not turned down. It was last time I checked at the height, it was 91 degrees.
oh, shut up. I was barely lucky to get it to 70 today. Sorry, I'm starting it in feisty.
Oh, please come in feisty. We need it because I went shopping and I didn't believe my madre. And she was like, look at the car. The car's not lying. And the car said it was 93. And my phone said it was 91. So I go by my phone.
Right.
Where I'm living, there's still no leaves on the deciduous trees.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they're just starting here. The willow doesn't have flowers yet. The lilacs that were usually done, bloomed, and dead by now, they don't have leaves. My Chisandra is just starting, and Loki's telling me I need to get snacks.
Hey, skids. How's it going? How's it going? You can hop in if you want to. Oh,
And my friends down in Virginia, they said the dogwoods have bloomed and have since shed all their petals, but they don't have any leaves.
Just hold it back.
oh, of course. That computer's giving me drama. I know no one wants to see my tail. I'm trying to
Oh,
deal with the computer over here. So let me get to the disclaimer. And tonight
here,
I
and
will
poor
be
Liz sounds like she's dealing with flooding.
oh, that stinks. That stinks. Tonight I will be taking apart this Kenmore. Since I haven't done it on film yet, I figured I might as well do it in a live stream. I haven't even plugged it in yet, so this one's gonna be interesting. This is like an official what would you call it? Cold reading, cold start.
Yeah, that works. A cold
It's a
encounter.
dead sewing machine they're gonna bring back to life. You know what? Honestly, I'm kind of exhausted too. This time of year, it should be my exciting time of year, but like between my son's schooling, driving around soccer mom style, because Isaiah's homeschooled, I forget about driving around, and there's not enough coffee in the world to have me deal with other humans,
Yep.
I used to
especially in the
call
morning.
it blind. I used to call it blind exploratory surgery. Whenever I would take something apart, not knowing what the hell was wrong with it.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and I pieced together. Gonna have some like knickerbockers with a matching shirt. Wow, I'm like can't even speak the words of what I'm trying to sew right now. In this cute little daisy print because I'm feeling summery.
So, to the plebs, what are knickerbockers?
Um, they are just above or just below the knee, short trousers that are. They used to wear them like under their big split riding skirts as like a undergarment layer. Loki, do not sit on the keyboard. Sit on the chair. Go on. Okay.
So, hey, Alibaba, how's it going? How's it going? I'm gonna take apart this Kenmore this evening. Some live sewing surgery. Thank you, Commander. Thank you for that one. The reason I ask is because, what are like the golf pants where the big with the big hip things on the side? What are those?
Oh God! Oh, God Joppers, God Pourers. Oh, I'm gonna forget the name. They've got a funny name.
Hey, butterfly. So why haven't we
Hi,
brought that?
butterfly.
Why haven't we brought that style back? The old
Because it's
school big.
ugly. Those huge hips. Who wants to make their hips look extra huge? Like, it's just
Try.
not flattering. I've seen I've seen some of the historical sewers make them, but I'm just like, that is not going to be flattering on my shape.
And
I
then you have the added thing that it looks like the cartoon generals from the, cartoon villain generals.
absolutely, absolutely. Ronald McDonald has long pants. Thank you. That is a style. I need to know what the name of that is now. I'm gonna look that up in a minute.
All right. Okay. Got. Oh.
Oh man, that one's not playing nice either. So let me get my disclaimer. I even have my who am I today? Oh, I have Bryce. I have my Bryce shirt on. At my local swap meet, I get these shirts for $1. And I love the guy, even though he's a close toucher. I absolutely love the guy. So I know I've asked this question before, but do you guys deal with people who are like close touchers? Because I'm awkward and everybody keeps their space. And this particular person is a shoulder rubber. I think it's the strangest thing.
No, because every time someone's done that, that was the last time they did it.
And I've said this before, in any other situation, I would call someone out and be like, "What are you doing?" But I think it's his. I speak Spanish, and he has green eyes. I think it's the green eyes. Butterfly gets it. Butterfly. He is for some reason. I love the guy. I absolutely like. I've been going to this swap meet ever since I've come back from Oregon. So for a while now, and he's worked there as long as I can remember. Absolutely, the guy. It just makes me laugh. He's definitely he's a. But I've seen him do it to other people, so he's just an affectionate person. And maybe as an American, I'm unattached. I'm just one of those people who's like, you stay over
Well, it
there.
could be cultural too. Because it
True.
is cultural, because in like Vietnam and the Middle East, you'd be surprised how affectionate men can be towards each other without, how
Totally.
homophobic they are in the Middle East, but yet the way guy friends behave towards each other, you would swear that the homophobia didn't exist because everyone was
Mexico,
gay.
Mexico's like that. Mexico's like that. The most affectionate people on earth, and they're extreme. And not all, but some people are extremely homophobic, and it is the most shoulder rubbing, like high kicking place, cabaret love on earth. And they're extremely homophobic. Not everybody. So, with that being said, here at the Godless Sewing Channel, we respect everybody, and this show is for entertainment purposes. Is this the new one? Yeah, it is. This is for entertainment purposes. So please do not take any medical advice, legal advice, any advice on spirituality or the lack thereof. We are on the internet, and let me tell you, the internet is big enough for all of us. Whether you think it is or not, we can all exist with all of our opinions on the internet. So again, this is for internet. This is for
Internet entertainment.
entertainment purposes, and for all of those who disagree, please do not forget to hit that like or dislike on your way out. And we have exits on the left and the right. And for my Spanish speaking friends, that's a izquierda and derecha. Thank you for flying Godless Sewing Airlines.
Oh, speaking of people getting a little bit pissed, um, some of the religious subs that I picked up with some of the videos I did previously, once I put Donald Trump in a Stalin uniform and had him basically, I played the audio that actually came from Truth Social. They called me all sorts of horrible things, and two of them unsubbed because they didn't get the memo. They evidently didn't like the false Trump prophet, but they thought that having Donald Trump ramble on about how he wanted to change America's relationship with NATO while having Trump in a Russian officer's uniform was just too much for them.
Lately, I've been dealing with some people who are like the most fervent on both sides, and I've noticed that they are um, razor thin. So I completely get it.
Well, here's the thing. Right now, they're comparing Trump being charged for, um, I think it's a campaign finance violation, and they haven't even hit him with the tax thing yet. So, what Trump did was he was having relations with a porn star while his wife was pregnant with his child, and he paid her hush money and then decided that he was going to hide the hush money payment, um, and then do a lot of crooked accounting so that the government would reimburse him, just like Jesus did.
Is it illegal
No,
to have a 1950s relationship where you pay someone off? Because
No, it's
my
not.
because
it's
everyone
not illegal. I know that they're like, I know that they're basically pointing out that it's not the act of paying them off, it's the act of the political nature of the hush money, and then the having it written off as a business expense, which is not a business. Hush money for your prostitutes is not considered a business expense by the IRS. I think that's what it is. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily that he had an affair, it's that he wrote it off as a business expense. And also because of hiding it, hiding the expense because of the political nature of it, campaign finance.
It makes sense because in the 19 what year was the hostages in the Olympics?
That would be in the 1970s. Or are you
My
talking
grand
about the Iran hostages?
whichever I believe it was the 19 it might have been the
Munich
1970s.
Olympics?
I believe
Was it the
so.
Munich Olympics?
I
Yeah,
believe
that was
so.
the.
Is that with the Israeli
Yes, yes.
okay. So at that Olympics, my grandfather boldly took his girlfriend on a business trip. And keep in mind, like he was a principal in the LAUSD. It was just different back then. They literally drank in the teachers' lounge. They smoked cigarettes in the teachers' lounge. It was a different time, you know. But no one batted an eye. The story is famously told because my grandfather showed up and everybody was like, oh, "That's not my grandmother," you know. And he didn't say anything. And I'm not justifying it, but sometimes I think that Trump is from that old school, old money, scotchy, cigar smoking way of life, you know. And in no way, shape, or form do I endorse Trump. But when I become a billionaire, I don't want to get sued for doing the exact same thing.
It's if you take someone and the dinner is somehow business related, like you
Hmm.
have arm candy at a business dinner with people who it's somehow related to your business, then yeah, that's actually treating them to the food is a business expense. It's when the having the arm candy is not business related in any way, like when you're just having fun. Like if you take them to a business dinner, then it's a business expense. If you
Yeah,
take them to your hotel afterwards, you can't write off the amount of money you paid the hooker.
I get
Unless
it.
you're in Nevada, and then if you have to bring a business associate.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
But I would check with the IRS first, because the IRS is federal and Nevada is a state.
So, fun fact about the state of Nevada that you're free to hoe in Nevada, male or female. You just go to the registrar's office and you tell them that you want to either be a stripper or a prostitute, and you um, show them certain test results or take the test right then and there, and they give you a license. The state of Nevada, and it's not even that complicated. I'll give you the address. It's on the other side of what is that? You can see that one casino from it. Do you think that's a positive or negative thing? Legal prostitution in that sense, where you can show up from any state and just show an ID and be like, "Oh, I'm negative."
Well, I
I think
wouldn't
it's better
do it.
regulated than
Let's just,
unregulated.
yeah, I was going to say that having the people doing the drug tests and not having the necessarily the kind of relationship that pimps have with their hookers in LA versus the relationship that they have with them in where there's a legal employee employer relationship in Nevada. It's a lot less exploitative.
Yes, the stuff that goes on in LA is illegal in the state of Nevada. Like if a male was just to walk up to a female and be like, "Hey, get in my car," or just yell at her, like you're gonna go to jail in Nevada. Where in Los Angeles, like if you're anywhere at 3:30 in the morning on any street, you could see that. It's awful. It's awful.
And a lot of those people are lured into that situation, and then the pimps use similar methods of control that cult leaders use. It's actually not good. In fact, when I was getting my CDL, one thing that they showed us a video as far as identifying possible human trafficking of that nature. If you see multiple people with the same tattoo in the same place, that's how some horrible people mark their property, so to speak.
Do you know I never even thought about that? I've always been kind of a lone wolf, and I traveled around 10 years almost by myself. So I was never exposed to like certain subcultures because I avoided people.
Well,
I
this
was
was an instructional video on what to look for. And if you see it, just don't let it be known that you noticed it. Just go someplace quiet and call the cops.
I know about the old school like cry for help sign and all that. Japanese triads do the same thing, same in the same place. Wow. Do you know I had no idea that that world even existed, and then I was this young. Oh, Hands, we missed you. We missed you, Hands. Oh, you're all grown up now with a mustache, shaven. You have your own razor. Oh, he left. I embarrassed him. I embarrassed him. He's
That'll
grown
do it.
man. He's grown man. He is a grown man. And yesterday, my my ex-wife and I, because you know what, we divorced a long time ago, but we come together like Voltron to parent our child. and I was like, he's got to shave his chin because he's starting to get the Billy Goat thing, and I'm like, if he, I just don't want my kid to look like Shaggy. So his
Right,
mom
or to look
cornered
older than his age and get taken advantage of.
exactly. And because we both work in the special needs world, like grooming is taking care of yourself is a big deal in the special needs world because people judge you on how you're presented, on how you present yourself. And if you look shaggy, they're going to treat you as such.
Yeah. I have a suggestion. The most evil thing my mom ever did to me when I did something horrible, how she punished me. She decided she's gonna pick me up at school. And then she gave me a giant hug in front of everybody, and she let my classmates take care of me from there. and she whispered into my ear, "Now they're going to make your life a living hell."
My father had a PA on the very truck that's sitting in front of my house right now, which still has a PA on it. He would play Tchaikovsky, and he would play classical music to embarrass, and it worked. Like my father was really into bagpipes as well. And bagpipes, it's like a banjo. You really have to be into it to listen to it all the time. Because I don't care. Even people from Scotland are like, I don't want to hear bagpipe music all day long.
Give me classical music over bagpipes any day.
He would pull up and put it under the speaker. And that man was in the Navy. So if he said 5 o'clock, he'd be there at 4:59. And if you weren't, but that's back in
I'm
the mall rat.
surprised that he didn't have trying to remember what it's called. It's a
Revelry.
revelry.
He was obsessed with the Lone Ranger. So I'm no, my dad was more of it. Like my parents were polar opposite. My mom still rocks out to like the same stuff I listen to. Like, and you know what? Influences are real. Like she would listen to like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and she was obsessed with the Rolling Stones. And what are you turning the handle? Oh, I'm lubing up this Kenmore 138 because I'm going to see if I can get it going. But I've learned over the years to slowly let the lubrication work the machine before I turn it on, because it's a semi-violent act when it goes from just being dry to being turned on. So I'm soaking it, and please don't get excited, Mormons. I'm literally just soaking a sewing machine.
We're lubing and soaking them.
Also, tapping flip.
Sorry, what's that, Phoenix?
Oh, I was just joking about the lubing and of the machines. Oh, lubing and soaking.
Tapping oil. Tapping oil also is really good for getting into the nooks and crannies. You know, the oil you'd use to tap a hole.
Oh, I never thought about that. I actually have every oil you could possibly think of in this room. That's not a bad idea.
I think you need to upgrade your fire extinguishers then.
I have over 9 in this room because I'm accident prone. I have.
Now I remember what it was called. Tap magic.
And it's not for any other reason than I have to. At my job, we have real inspections from the CHP, from the state, and we have to rotate fire extinguishers. And like if they're not up to code or anything, they either get discharged or they come home with me. So I have 9 that are still working and 3 that are questionable. So they're in the back. If I get to those, if I've got to those fire extinguishers, I have already called the fire department and my house is burning down.
We got new fire extinguishers. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we got new fire extinguishers every 4th of July because I would purposely create a giant cloud in the neighborhood with them.
I learned all kinds of cool stuff because my pops was an electrical engineer. So he was Mr. Wizard. Like he would make once a year, he'd do huge dry ice bombas with Arrowhead bottles and dry ice. Those really good old days. Oh, you could make explosions and the fire department wouldn't show up. If I did that now, I would have 5 news choppers, the fire department. And where I'm from, if you make a big stink, they make you pay for it. So if the helicopter flies over your head and you have a party, they charge you like $4,000 or $5,000. You know, so if your kid throws a razor and you get caught, and your kid gets caught, you get a bill in the mail like, oh, the cops had to de-escalate a situation at your house. Here's a bill. Good old fuel. I think they're charging you for fuel. Oh, this is going to turn over. It's a bit rusty.
Yeah, she's got a squeak to her.
But
Well,
for let's see, for here we go. I got this for $14 at my local Goodwill because they considered it dead or inoperable. And I was like, challenge accepted. And they have
I
this big
wonder
thing
how
of
much a helicopter costs and then training the pilot and then the maintenance. It's got to be a good amount of money.
Alexa, how much does a helicopter cost?
I don't know that one.
Alexa, how much does a Cessna airplane cost in the Sam's Club catalog?
From globalair.com, a Cessna 172, for example, might cost $40,000 or $400,000.
They say 40 grand for a Cessna?
Yeah.
That's like a bare bones without any comfort whatsoever. Let me Google police helicopter. See how much the police helicopter costs. Los
That's
Angeles County.
That's a really good point, Alibaba Furball. It does sound like the bell. I'm so glad you said that so I can look. So the
Cost
second you
of
said
a
it, I'm like,
police helicopter from LA County. LA County spent $77 million on the maintenance for its helicopters. Let's see, 50
so they
million
can fly
for
over my
parts
house.
and 27 million for maintenance in a 10-year period. Oh, it says this means that the LA helicopter unit costs at least $215 million over the last decade.
Oh, I believe it because they're overhead every 20 minutes, and I live on the good side of town.
And helicopters are the engineering on them has to be better than a Cessna. Because you figure the Cessna might have a propeller with a 3-foot diameter, maybe a 5-foot diameter, but the rotors have to be a lot more balanced on the helicopter. It's a lot more complicated piece of equipment.
That's true. That's true. That around here only super rich people own helicopters. Like it's funny if I go southeast, that's Los Angeles. If I go southwest, that's like still LA, but it's Kim Kardashian territory. And that's where you see people with helipads on their properties. And I've always wondered, like, you have to be uber rich and it's not just owning it, it's the maintenance. Like, we spend a lot of money for a tractor, but man, we spend just as much maintaining that stupid thing. To the point where I really don't work on the old one anymore because it's so old. They don't even sell parts for it really anymore.
Back in my machining days, like in I wouldn't say job shops, but some of those alloys like Inconel, especially if it's like x-rayed, inspected, and certified. Place where I worked, someone cut 6-inch diameter, approximately 3-foot long pieces of Inconel, about an inch short, and they wound up getting scrapping over $500,000. And that's about the size you would pay for a shaft in the jet turbines of a helicopter. That's
Wow,
not
I didn't-
even counting the turbine blades, which are the good ones are an alloy of. It actually has like iridium in it and other high temperature refractory precious metals.
I had no idea so many people used kerosene. Sometimes I soak parts in crud cutter. I need to Google that. That I just want that bottle on my shelf. I like crud cutter. I just like that saying that.
I'm just here for the name.
Oh,
And finish what you're going to say.
sorry, those are two literally most common ways people get new cars here. Either the rust destroys them or the maintenance, nickels and dimes. Yes. Yes. That's why I stopped buying big expensive toys. Like I'll never own a boat again. I will never own a boat again in my life ever. A sea-doo, a jet ski, a boat. I'll take a tour if I really want to go somewhere. Helicopters would be thousands per hours of flight time by the time you factor in the fuel. Exactly. I that's one thing like my predecessor made me promise that I wouldn't buy a Lamborghini or anything stupid. He like literally and he scared me when he made me promise because I think in his heart of hearts he thought I really was going to buy a Lamborghini or something stupid.
And
But
let
the
me,
main go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify something. When I was talking about the refractory metals that had precious metals as part of their alloys, I wasn't talking about Inconel. Inconel is a general high temperature alloy, but they're alloys that go a lot more expensive and a lot hotter. I just didn't want someone claiming that I said something that I didn't.
There's been a lot of that going around. I am all here for clarification. I am all here for clarification. Before 1950, all the Lamborghinis are tractors. In the canyon by my job, that's a line where someone's like, "Oh, you want to see? I have a Lamborghini," and you turn the corner and it's literally a tractor. Or they're like, "I have a Mercedes Benz," and it's a box truck. Boat bust out another 1,000. I learned that lesson the hard way trying to keep up with stepdad. With my ex-wife's stepdad, I learned that lesson the hard way. And the funny thing is, recently we kind of had a heart to heart because he had a stroke and we were talking. He looked at me and he's like, I never liked sea doing. And I was like, then why did you encourage me to buy one?
Oh, and then it's like fun when you get a Sea-Doo. You buy there's a special deal on a Sea-Doo. All you have to do is drive to Vegas and like you get it and spin. It has the impeller for like Lake Mead, which is at a higher altitude. Then you take it into the Pacific Ocean and it winds up shaking itself to pieces because you need a different impeller for that because of cavitation.
Oh wow. Kilroy, like I totally agree with this. Like now I have the Johnny Horton. There's a hole in my P row, but like there's nothing wrong with having a boat. It's just like having a Sea-Doo isn't practical. If I was using it for a job or something like that, like I can justify having a monster truck because I use it for a job. It's not just some extension of something of my lost manhood. It's a farm vehicle.
I, I hope that's like in fresh water because aluminum and salt water do not mix.
Oh, now I just have Johnny Horton stuck in my head.
Was that Kilroy? Yeah, I don't think Kilroy is close to the ocean. I think that's definitely like some tiny little lake in the middle of nowhere.
And it's got to be that. Like, there's all different types of aluminum, which I learned when the fire ripped through the property, and we had aircraft aluminum, and it burnt and it melted, and it was
The
melting so
T
bad. Oh, go ahead.
the T6, that's the family of aircraft aluminum. It actually has silicon in it, which gives it better machining properties, makes it a little bit metal, a little bit more crisp and less gummy. And yeah, they have different properties. Like the T3 series is, you notice you can't really get a good finish turning it easily.
All right, let's
I'm sorry
see.
if I.
No, please, by all means, Commander. I'm so ADD all over the place. You're good. This is moment of truth. I barely oiled this thing. Let's see if we can get it firing. Oh.
Oh, I see it. It's alive. It's alive.
It's not perfect. I can hear the clack already, but this is in great condition. This is a 138, right? This is
Okay.
great condition because usually these things are trashed. Yay!
He knows what I was gonna say.
I own a few. Yay, I'm excited. Same here.
One time I was working, I won't say where I was working, but it was a much better company than the company from hell where I got a lot of my mental issues from. And we had to make something to, I'm trying to remember, we cut a taper to a specific length. We made basically a lap. It ultimately didn't work without adding a hell of a lot of oil, but we took coarse sandpaper and wrapped it around this piece of aluminum that was cut to a specific taper because these giant bolts had a specific taper on it. And in order to get these two shafts together, we had to have the hole have the exact same taper with like a 90% fit. And they got a really shitty piece of aluminum for us to use. And it was T3 series. You could tell just by the way it machined. But as far as telling which alloy it was within the series, you can't do that.
The only reason I know that particular building was aircraft aluminum is because like certain parts of the ranch were built in the 1950s. And the pool was so beautiful. I actually miss it. I don't like it used to be an indoor pool. But after the fire they made it an outdoor pool and I kind of miss having an indoor pool because you could swim in it all year round.
Aircraft aluminum is actually, in terms of if you want to scrap it, you'll get less money because it's got different ingredients in it that make it a stronger alloy. But in terms of strength, it's far better than pure aluminum.
Do you know everybody in the chat is invited on my show, but Kilroy and Alibaba Furball, you are the encyclopedias of this channel. And so far, everything that you have suggested on this sewing machine is correct, Alibaba. So far, everything that you have suggested is absolutely correct.
I know. If either of you want to make like 6-hour sewing videos about taking apart and putting together sewing machines again, I am all here for that.
Yes, you are absolutely right. There are different kinds of aluminum for aircraft with different properties. But in general, it's stronger than pure aluminum.
Be careful, Liz. Be careful. Look at this guy. It's hot as hell year round, and he still wants it.
I know. He's such a complainer.
I am natural born. I'm a Karen. I am a real, like, my hair fell out, but there's a flip. I have a flip. I'm a real life Karen.
It's natural.
I miss the indoor pool. It gets windy here. You can't swim when it's windy.
Says who? As long as there's no lightning.
Because of my lungs, I'm pneumonia prone.
Okay.
So I have to, I can't jump into cold lakes. I have to be properly dressed when I go in the snow. You know, I have to take precautions. I can hang. I just have to take precautions. Absolutely, Butterfly. My pool is an iceberg.
Indoor pools.
You know, first, like if I had Alibaba's pool, I would be skating on it. See, but like that's the one jealous thing about someone who's obsessed with hockey. When I go on my Facebook, I'm friends with a lot of people around the world, but everyone in Canada is literally skating on their pool. Like in skates, having full games or or making ice rinks in their backyards with their hose. You can't do that
Yes.
here.
No.
You can't do that here.
Between wasting the water and it just doesn't get cold like that.
But
I'm
back to what
wondering if
Commander.
you can if you can damage your pool by letting it freeze up too much because
Do you know
ice expands.
I never thought about that. That's a really good point. A lot of the people I watch, they make their own rinks in their backyards. Like it's a thing now because of the internet. Everybody's trying to show off. And because I'm hockey obsessed, like I'll click on anything. So the algorithm's constantly showing me people. And it's more on my Facebook, but people make rinks in their backyard and I'm like so jealous because here we got to pay money to go on the ice. There's actually an ice rink within one freeway exit of my house, which anyone knows LA, that's close. When I was a kid, there was one place, well, actually two. It was the Isoplex and whatever mall had the very famous skate ring that was in every 80s movie you could possibly think of. But I can't remember the name of it.
Actually, like, actually getting a pair of rollerblades and then trying to go back to ice skates or roller skates was hard because the rollerblades would support your ankles and the muscles to keep your ankles where they needed to be, straight and whatever, weren't there when I went back to roller skates or ice skates. So it was like
I know
having to learn how to do it all over again.
I know exactly what you're saying. I still do both. I still skate on ice and obsessively skate on my rollerblades as much as I can. I carry them in my car. And I carry a hockey stick and a puck with me too. Like I'm that old guy in an open parking lot doing a skills competition by myself.
Do you see that picture on the bottom of the psychic machines? That is actually a picture from some church in Italy that was painted like 400 years ago, and it looks like Putin. I got that from Operator Starsky. That picture on the machine. That's Robin Bollocks. He's basically doing a psychic cold reading where he had a room full of hundreds of people, and they asked, was anyone's grandma named Myrtle? And that was a very popular name at one point. That's what my bubby's name was. So, if I didn't know it was a cold reading, you see, you
Alibaba.
see
Oh,
the
sorry.
picture on the machine back there. That's it. That's like 400 years old.
Oh wow. Your animation is just top tier. Absolutely. Alibaba answered the question. Yes, I have to put floats and foam parts in the inlets and alcohol gel to prevent frost ice damage. I think that's alcohol.
I think so too. They said they were
And
tired.
yes, I'm sorry.
The water's not sealed in. If it expands, it's just gonna push any surface ice up. You already drained the pools halfway. I wondered about that because I do see people skating in pools, but I'm like, you have to have drained that pool completely before. So what I think they do is they drain it, seal it, and then they fill it with water, or let the ice, let the rain and everything fill it up.
Yes, that is a 3D Trump dressed like Joseph Stalin.
That reminds me, I used to get really cool, like Yugoslavian and old USSR uniforms at the SWAT meet. Oh, why am I not? Okay, there it is. And last time I went, the SWAT meet guys said it's illegal to sell those in California now. So, like, and keep in mind, I have purchased Compton. I have a Compton, California school system patch. I have a Compton, California janitors patch. I have a Compton, California patch. It's a police patch, but I bought it because it says Hub City on it. Like certain African American cities claim Hub City, just how certain surf cities claim Surf City. So saying Hub City is it's an old school way of saying like no, like we run this here.
Well,
But it bugs me because I have a ton of old Yugoslavian uniforms and coats and jackets and stuff.
they're just getting ready for the new thing that came out. What is it today? That like the words red pill, blue pill, Chad, Stacy, a whole bunch of other stuff are now like on the FBI's like watch list of like, don't say these words. I'm like, oh my God, this is just getting out of hand.
Is that true? Because
There was a press conference about it.
Really quickly, Gilroy, and it's not just the Yugoslavian, because we would get a lot of old USSR stuff, and I'm obsessed with Babylon 5. And anyone who knows Babylon 5, Londo Malari's uniforms were basically old Soviet uniforms, and they would go to Michael's and just sew on them. And they were spectacular. And so for years, I was trying to recreate his jacket, and I have quite a few mishaps on the island of failed projects.
Island of Misfit Project.
Every once in a while, Isaiah will go in the closet, and he's like, where did you get this coat? This is the coolest coat. And I'm like, you can have it, bro, because I will never sew on it again.
I don't want you in my sewing room anymore.
Well, I have a bunch of really cool coats, and I thought some of them were I thought a lot of them were American, but they were all like old USSR or like African countries that I can't even name, or defunct like dictatorships. This guy had really cool uniforms. And I bought a Star Trek uniform for him for $6. So he made me a loyal customer. But yeah, it's crazy.
you were probably getting old Soviet uniforms because no one wanted them. It's like who outside of the scum of the earth runs around in a Nazi uniform? Only actors in Hollywood aren't the scum of the earth for wearing them.
Butterfly gets it. Lana Malari was the best. I still watch Babylon 5 because that show was so deep. It had such a message behind it. His hair was the best, but their coats, like the more evil he became, the more medals he'd get on his coat. Like that show, they thought about their wardrobe. Every episode, his jacket would change. Like the more evil he would become. I miss shows like that where you actually had to think about watching it while you were watching it.
Those medals that I have on Trump, those are two versions of the Order of Lenin. And I actually didn't just want to pepper it until it looked tacky, even though that's exactly what Trump would do.
Oh, do you know? And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but disclaimer here at the Godless Sewing Channel, we are here about all entertainment purposes. But when I see the North Korean generals, I'm like, first off, where did you get all of those medals, and who did you fight? There.
Well, one of them is for best ass licker and cocksucker and miserable sycophant.
Were you gonna say something, Phoenix?
Oh, I was good. Oh, yeah. I think it's just Kim Jong-un wanting everybody to look pretty around him, but not too pretty to upstage him.
Yeah, exactly. I always wonder, like, whenever I see press conferences, I'm like, man, those guys have a ton of medals. I'm a weird person. I look at everyone's wardrobe, not in a bad way, because I literally dress like Willie Nelson. Especially this time of year, you're going to see a lot of plaid cutoff shirts. I dress like a house-o from Australia. Like, I do not play. Especially when it gets hot, I can't even hide my contempt for the heat. Like, if I'm showing arms like I was yesterday, it was hot. And everybody, every Sunday, you guys should come down. Phoenix streams every Sunday at the Stitch and Bitch on the Phoenix Electra channel. You guys should come
I
down.
do. We're here on the YouTube, and I just saw today I'm up to 30 followers on Rumble, and I've made 2 cents.
Yay!
So if you don't like the YouTubes, we are also over on Rumbles.
Which I recently just signed up for because for some strange reason YouTube has been attacking my channel. I think I don't know if I'm getting massively flagged or what. I don't know if people they just don't like flower print because really let's be real. My real obsession is fabric and flower print. Like if you want to be 100%. But like there my last video I have over 700 views and right now it only shows like 100 something 200 views. And it does it on
It seems
it's
like
really
there's a delay.
it's bugging me because people like what I produce and YouTube in the past 2 months has completely come after me.
Welcome to the dark side. It's more satisfying, and I get way more. Yesterday's stream, it said I had like 438 views. I don't know how long people stayed, but that's way more than I had on the YouTubes.
That's more than I get.
I know that's way more than I usually get on YouTube. That's all right, Butterfly. I figured that it was Easter people were doing, or Passover people were doing. What is it? Easter, Passover, Ramadan, whatever other people were probably busy with family stuff, and mine doesn't live close.
We eat early. I grew up. My parents were senior citizens by the time I was 10, so I eat early.
Right, it's like 2:00 dinner, and then you're out.
I don't play. I don't play. I grew up with senior citizens. I like an early dinner.
Then we can have dinner too at 7:00.
My siblings tell all these harrowing stories about my parents, and like I grew up when they were senior citizens, so they were already like in their chill phase by the time I came around.
That thing that flashed, that was a 3D model of Tucker Carlson, and I took an actual segment of it. So if you just saw that, I was putting it in the OBS.
I quit watching all of that because I feel like I need heart medication just watching the news nowadays. Even my local news, every once in a while, they need to put a good story in there. Even back in the day, I know this is so cliche, but every once in a while we would get the cat up the tree story.
Right.
Everyone like, oh, the fire department rescued this beautiful kitty up the tree. Look, they're doing their job.
I know. Hopefully, Alibaba, that you didn't lose power in some of that ice storm. That is a super late season ice storm.
Oh,
that's okay, Kilroy.
I was attacking my sewing room so I could actually get some sewing. I have to do that all the time in here, Butterfly, all the time, because I get so distracted. I thought by putting everything in the same room at the same time it would help me, but really I have 5 projects going on at once. And then I decided to fix a sewing machine. So I have 6.
I know. I'm just glad I got that corset finished. I finished after the stream yesterday. I punched in a new eyelet. Then I reinforced it because it was starting to fall out again. These like crappy, not up to code Chinese grommets are killing me.
I'm telling you, I showed you my crummy vest yesterday. I think that's what it is. I dressed in sweatpants and yes, Mark Short and I dressed exactly the same. When it's hot, when you live somewhere where it's hot, I don't mess around. I almost wore my John Stockton jersey, but I don't think everyone's ready for the purple and blue yet. I think I was going to switch to Rumble myself, Facebook and YouTube. You know what I'm going to do, Liz? I'm going to keep everything, but I'm just going to keep on adding, because like through this, I could stream with all of those services at once, you know? So
yeah,
I'm going to keep them.
Set your Rumble up first because it's getting better, but sometimes it takes a couple of times to get it set up because you need to import the custom RTMP or whatever that is. So you can finish, and you need a clip or something. I should get like a nice little 30, because you can have up to 120-second intro video placeholder so I should update mine. But we can
Oh,
we can go through it.
I would lose
Have
it
either
if.
of you?
Oh, sorry, really
I'm sorry.
quickly. No, it's okay. I lost my power for over 50 hours. I have generators. I would go bonkers. I have 7 generators. I have a generator that I shall not name because that person owns Twitter now, and their stock has just plummeted. But the technicians at Tesla actually do their jobs. But like, I would like, I'm such a modern human. I'm such a modern. I'm so sorry that happened to you too, Gilroy. Like I am. That's why I have a Honda EU. I have a Frankenstein generator. Like I don't mess around.
Have
They say,
Oh
either
no,
of
your basement
you?
almost flooded and 9C in the house. That's terrible.
yikes. What's
Have
that?
either of
Sorry.
you? I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Commander.
Have either of you tried making shorts? I tried the first two shorts. The first two shorts that I put out, as far as I know, they've gotten over 600 views and over actually about 4 hours, a little bit more than 4 hours worth of view time. That was
Can't
the
take.
first two I put out, and then the algorithm crapped out because it didn't
That's
want to do anymore.
Can I
congratulations.
tell you?
I,
Oh,
on a matter of principle, refuse to do shorts because I dislike short form crack candy content,
oh, it is.
and
It is. Oh,
I just can't.
sorry. I am that crazy person they're advertising towards Phoenix because like I see the shorts, I tell myself don't click on it. I've subscribed to like 4 or 5 different people because of the shorts. Like that, like Isaiah has introduced me to this one woman that says everybody's so creative, and then she shows people wasting food and she like basically shames them. But to answer your question, Commander, I'm a boomer. I've attempted to upload shorts twice. If you go back and look, anything that says salute my shorts, it was utter and complete failure. I don't know how to do a short. I was raised by boomers and pre-boomers. I don't know what I'm doing.
You know what I had to do? I had to like specially make a video, and then I had to upload it to my channel as a regular video, and then I had to go to my phone and make that video a fucking short because I couldn't figure out exactly how to upload it from my phone directly.
That's what happened to me. And the first time I thought, okay, I'm raised by boomers. I didn't know what I was doing. The second time I was like, how does anyone upload a short? I went to YouTube. I just couldn't figure it out. But honestly, that's not my demographic because like, I'm like totally ahead in the chat. I'm like totally ahead. But like what Kilroy is saying, I'm like that too. Like when I watch stuff, I want to be able to like put my phone down and walk away, or put my yes, I watch it. I have a tablet. I'm old. I put it on my tablet and walk away. Especially while I'm sewing.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I don't feel the need to like. Want people to. I want to get noticed and people to pay attention to me, but I don't want to do it just to feed YouTube's algorithm, which is why Rumble is great.
I think
well,
that's
I'm
another.
disappointed because my long video got less than 30 views and 60 impressions because the baby penguin says, ah, shit. Can I have another game over? Can I have another quarter? And that's enough to make the algorithm not promote it.
Yeah, it has. What is it? It can't be in the first 7 seconds, and then you can start cursing like a sailor, sort of.
I was really wondering about that. We were having this conversation earlier. Like, that's one of the reasons. Well, besides the fact I've trained myself not to be a potty mouth, but that's why I created my other channel, because I am a potty mouth, and I just where's that line? Because I watch certain YouTubers and I'm like, they just said MF like 19 times. They said the N word, they said the H word, they said like all these terrible things, and their channel's still up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, how many subs they have versus how many subs do we have? And oh, by the way, go check out the that video that I showed you parts of. And please like, share, and subscribe. That's actually one thing. I was watching videos on how to grow your channel, and a lot of people don't ask people to sub.
I'll tell you, that's one of my biggest problems. I don't promote. Every single sub I have, I've like someone's either found me or I've been like, please be my friend. I have a YouTube channel. Please be my friend. Kind sir, will you or ma'am, will you please be my friend and like and subscribe?
Help me feed my starving children.
Tiny Tim can barely make it through the winter. Tiny Tim needs your help. Please
He has
subscribe.
medical expenses. Can you please support us?
Because I'll tell you, like when I first came in a certain community, I found people who shamelessly self-promote annoying. And there are certain products that I don't want. Like there are certain commercials that obsessively show up that I'm like, I will never go there, except for Israel. I will go there for a third time in my life before I die. But besides that, all these obsessive ads, I'm like, I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to go here. Like, you spend way too much money to annoy me. You spend way too much money. But yes, and yes, I'm a dinosaur who doesn't have an ad blocker. I know. I'm a dinosaur.
I just pay for YouTube Premium so that I don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah,
So I
me
have a
too.
question. Can you watch like television on YouTube Premium, like the shows that they make you pay for? Can I, or do you have to pay extra?
You have to,
Some
if
of them
they're
are
charging
charged.
extra.
Go ahead.
Well, my experience is most of it you have to pay for. Most people aren't giving it away.
No, what I'm saying is, can I pay a flat fee and then obsessively watch television on it like I do already?
Yes, it's extra money, but yes. But don't you get your cable through having your internet?
Yeah, and I have a bunch of special channels, so yeah, I do have a bundle. I curse as well, Kilroy, but I didn't want my son to have my mouth, so I stopped cursing around my child, and it kind of worked. It kind of worked. I stumble in here with suggestions. Alibaba, your suggestions work because the machine, it still has a semi squeak, but it's definitely improving. And that's because I barely soaked it. Do not get excited, my Mormon brothers and sisters. I'm talking about a sewing machine. Disclaimer, disclaimer.
Oh,
I was
oh no, a
looking
piece
at
just fell off my ruffler foot. Oh, it's a good thing I have another one, but
I think that's awesome. You were looking for atheist sewing channels. That's why I've never switched my name, because I want people to know that people like me exist.
Oh,
Especially so when you see me at the sewing conventions. Oh, speaking of which, for all my Star Trek fans, okay, be careful. Yes, and I'm all about Tiny Tim. Some days I slam the door in his faces, and some days I am Tiny Tim. That's life. I feel so damn shitty and scummy anytime I try to self-promote. Same. It's just weird. But I've been working on something that I haven't finished yet, but I showed it off yesterday. Where did it go? Oh. But in my heart of hearts, I'm Starfleet through and through. But let's be real. Anyone who really knows me knows that I am a Klingon. So let me see if I can get it in a full shot here.
I was faking Klingon. I can't speak it.
But the House of Sewing was worth waiting for it to come from on the other side of the planet. The House of Sewing is what makes it. Because I always say, like, oh, here in the House of Sewing, here in the House of Sewing. So I'm going to be wearing this one all the time. So when you see me on People of Walmart, I made this all by hand, except for the patches. that was made by some person.
That that jacket with the Egyptian thing on it behind you, are those like green aliens?
No, what's the um no, that's what's his face? The guy that was like really not even a top tier pharaoh, but because they found his tomb, he's like the most King Tut.
King
That's
Tut.
Oh yeah, they had
they wore elaborate
the his dad was a worshiper of the Aten or this.
of
It was
Akhenaten,
the
yes.
it was the first a documented case of monotheism, and everyone hated his dad.
Exactly. They have both House of Blues. You're gonna have to open up a club called House of Sewing. I like it.
Yes. Can I
Because
come perform weekly?
yes, because I was thinking about like eventually opening up. Like I have museum worthy pieces, and I'm not talking about just my sewing machine. Like I was thinking about opening up something like that, but I'm all about like having that with like. Does anyone ever remember Grinder Girl from the David Letterman show? She would wear a metal suit and like hula hoop while putting grinders on herself.
Ooh.
You should.
I
It's
don't
she's
know
No,
all
that.
over. She's all over YouTube. You know the funny thing is, I'm talking about a performer from like the early 1990s.
No, but
So I
there's
doubt
a
she's still. Oh, go
no,
ahead.
but there's
Sorry.
another act. There's a girl pony. What is it? Poison Pony Pony Poison, and she's based in Vegas. Who does have a metal grinding act?
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, that's like
Bef-
the fourth or fifth time I've talked about Vegas today. I think I'm gonna go, and I think I'm gonna take all the boys with me. Marquette has 2 teenage sons, and so do I. And I think I'm gonna take all the boys to Vegas this summer.
before we
That might
get
be a
too
bet.
far,
Go ahead,
before
Greta.
we get too far away from your house of sewing, um, there was a business. There was a sewing business, a clothing business that it initially started out with the shittiest name you ever did. Ever did figure out. It was called God's Sewing Room. And someone said that's never going to sell to the general public. And they called it Lord and Taylor. So you need to find out something that everyone's not going to get, that it's an initially godless sewing. But if you know the little secret, you'll know why the name is the way it is.
I know exactly what you're saying because my name does turn off to a lot of people. Um, I watch a lot of really obscure stuff on YouTube, and I'm really into ancient kinetic, the religion, how they lived, how they breathed, because it's so foreign from everything I know. So I watch people that are into Egyptian spirituality. I said hello in a chat, and this guy went off for 45 minutes about how he hates atheists. And I'm like, bro, I just want to learn. Like just because I don't believe in the same thing you don't, like you have knowledge. I just want to learn. So my
You
name does
know, your name of your channel doesn't really bother me, because you know what, the statement that one doesn't believe in a god or gods has nothing to do with how they treat other people and how you live your life. In fact, a lot of the people who are atheists, they live lives probably closer to that of either their original religion, Christianity or Judaism, than a lot of the people who still practice those things, believe in the various deities do.
oh totally. I recently had this conversation with the Pope, aka my mother, and like she was like, Isaiah, my son, I said this yesterday. Isaiah has recently decided to find religion. So we're encouraging him to look into quite a few, because none of us got a choice. At least, my ex-wife and I, we didn't get a choice. We were told, you go here. I was raised Roman Catholic, and she's both of her parents are from Ireland. So guess what religion she was raised? Catholic.
Irish
Spoiler,
Catholic.
Catholic. Yeah, exactly. Spoiler. If they live in here, they're Catholic.
You
So we
know,
were like,
one thing,
oh, go ahead. Go
this
ahead.
might seem self-serving, but knowing your son, maybe you should encourage him to learn a little bit about the Brukata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam kind of thing, specifically when they teach you about what those bad men in the 1930s and their rhetoric and all of that could soften him a little bit.
It's funny that you say that because he's extremely conservative. And how do you feel about Ben Shapiro?
My coworkers were absorbing the grandchildren of the conspiracy theories that Hitler was promoting from Breitbart that Ben Shapiro was editor in chief of. And recently, the billionaire that Clarence Thomas has been taking money from, it's more or less been revealed that that guy has a garden of dictators and a lot of Hitler stuff. And
Ben
Ben
Shapiro?
Shapiro is no, the
Oh, okay.
billionaire that Clarence Thomas has been taking bribes from without disclosing it.
Oh, but that's old.
And
It's 10-year-old news, and it's not going to go anywhere.
no. But I'm bringing something up. Ben Shapiro is making excuses for that billionaire, saying that that billionaire has all the Hitler stuff and all the communist stuff throughout his. I know two different ideologies that don't go together, but somehow he's got all that stuff, and he had that stuff because he hated those things so much he surrounded him by it. So Ben Shapiro is someone whose mommy was Jewish, but he's been bought and paid for to be an apologist for the very people who tried to, I'm not sure about his family history, but most certainly the very people who tried to slaughter a lot of people's families in the old country, including my mom's parents. They tried to fucking slaughter. So
The reason why I asked you about Ben Shapiro is for the exact same reason what you're saying right now. I do not understand people that vote against their own interests, but that's just me. Or speak against their own interests. That's just me. But Isaiah kind of fell in this weird. I told my son he wasn't allowed to watch Jordan Peterson. One day, my son, who had never cleaned his room ever, I walked in his room and he made his bed. And I looked at him and I was like, "You're watching Jordan Peterson, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yes." How did you know that? So I was like, "Look, you're not allowed to watch Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson makes my skin crawl just because he's a hardcore opiate addict who gets a pass, and watching him relapse on YouTube, watching him in real life scares me. I can't watch the show Intervention sometimes." So I told him you can watch Ben Shapiro. And and it's, I don't know, it's really weird. Isaiah has become really weirdly respectful and nice. And so he's on this weird quest for religion. I just don't like the vehicle and the people that he's looking it through. So I'm introducing him to other people. And Kilroy,
take him
I had to Google Harlan Crow. I had to Google.
Take him to a conservative or a reform synagogue, or have I'm trying to. Chabad is actually quite moderate compared to some of the other Orthodox. In fact, Chabad's officially not even Zionist. They actually want to stay away from politics as much as possible. But
I know quite a few people. I wouldn't even know what sect they were.
he needs to learning about Judaism and the philosophical, learning about the 1930s and the philosophical links between the hard right wingerness and Hitler, and what it led to might soften him.
He's see, and that's another thing. He has is it called Gab?
Getter.
What
Oh no, there
Gab?
is Gap and Getter.
He's on one of those weird, like it looks like Twitter, but everybody's really racist.
Yeah,
And
it could be
he
either.
started an account. He didn't know that like I stalk his email accounts and everything. So I went in there, and my son's not racist or a bigot or anything. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, let him explore. He's not a weirdo. He's not in there like an incel, like screaming at people. So I'm okay with his exploration as long as he keeps it the same way that he is now. I'm okay with it because Kilroy said it yesterday. Inevitably, he's going to take it to its logical conclusion, and he'll come right back to telling people he's an atheist or an agnostic or whatever, a year or two from now. And as someone who raised him without a religion, I encourage him to go out and seek what makes him happy. And you never know, he might want to join the Baha'i faith. He might want to become a Rayleigh. The Rayleighs believe that Rail was an alien who gave I can't get it right. What do the Rayleighs believe? Basically, everything is created. So everything is like, if heaven exists, it's because humans created it. It's
But
basically the movie Inception. Not Inception.
if
Which one's the
if
Matthew
heaven,
McConaughey? Sorry.
I don't know. If humans created the heavens, then how did humans come to be if we needed air to breathe?
Interstellar. That's what it is. The Rayleighs basically believe that everything is reciprocal and that in the end, if anything exists in the future, it's us who created it. Interstellar is very much like that. If the last 15 minutes, like if you really watch it, that's basically what it says. And I'm not even giving away the movie because I had to watch it 4 times just to make sense of that movie.
Well, as long as
Interstellar
he
is
doesn't
actually
try out transhumanism.
What's that?
Interstellar.
Phoenix? What's that, Phoenix?
Oh, I was gonna say, as long as he doesn't jump on the transhumanism bandwagon, all will be okay. Anything but that. Anything but that.
That's Elysium. Is it? Yeah, that's Elysium, where everybody's a cyborg. That's Elysium. Elysium is transhumanism. Interstellar is more like Interstellar was crazy. Honestly, that was a crazy movie. I'm probably gonna go watch it tonight just to make sense of it again.
If I am thinking of if Interstellar is actually the movie that I think it is, it has a black hole in it. Am I right?
Yes.
It's famous in the graphic arts world because the black hole in there is the only Hollywood special effect in history that had a actual academic paper written for its existence. The black hole actually looks like what a black hole would actually look like at that, it's actually accurate.
And I absolutely love how they show how time dilation will ruin your life. How time dilation is real. I love that movie because when they come up and the guy's older and he's like, nothing can beat the law of physics. I was like, I was like punching the air, like, it's so true.
I do have to agree with Allie on this one, though. The cats are my overlords.
I feel like Odin is going to take me on a quest soon.
Right after you get her fixed.
There's a scene in the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who. These human cats, they start showing up and they start taking humans. And everybody's like, what's going on? And they're like, we're responsible for you guys. You think we're just your pets? I almost cried. I was like, "Oh man!" They're like, "You think the Egyptians were just praying to us for a reason?" They were like a race of cats. It's awesome, awesome. I miss the old Doctor Who writing. So today, oh, I won't speak about that yet. So today is Dingus Day. It's a Polish American celebration
Can I,
to
I can
mark the
talk about
completion.
this. The best holiday ever, where the ladies get pussy willow branches and beat up on the boys to tell them that they like them. What? What? This
Heck
is
yeah,
my
Dingus Day
favorite
all the way.
holidays. Yes, Dingus Day rocks. And I miss butter lambs. What's wrong with the West Coast? Can somebody on the East Coast, if there's 50% off butter lambs, can you send me a mold or a butter lamb?
I guarantee you could probably get one down here in LA because if someone's from anywhere on planet Earth, they live here in Los Angeles. And
Fair.
they cook food.
And
It's
you
just-
were talking.
Go ahead.
You finished then all.
No, I don't have anything.
You were talking about how the Egyptians. There was something about how cats were the overlords. You said something about Egyptians. I always
Yeah.
thought that Egyptian religious art was basically the first furry fan fiction art ever.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes, butterfly. I am LAMB. Butter lambs. They're butter put into a mold that's lamb shaped.
Are they delicious?
It's butter. Isn't butter always delicious? I mean, I try not to keep it in my house, but yeah, we used to either go to the market or they used to just have them at the grocery stores at Easter time. Butter lambs.
I'm gross with butter. Like I'm addicted.
Anything that causes you to gain the exact amount of weight that you eat is always good.
And now I have Louie cemented in my head. Sally O'Malley. You know, I eat a lot of potatoes. Are those the same? Do you maintain the same weight when you eat those, or do you?
You can actually like gain a lot of weight. I remember during the pandemic, I got a fancying for potatoes because they were cheap. You could put a lot of stuff on them and they were good. Well, lo and behold, about a year of eating potatoes, and my A1C was 13, and I was over 100 pounds heavier than I am now.
I know no one feels sorry for the skinny guy, but because of my lungs, my weight goes up and down so much. So I eat a lot of potatoes and starchy food and just fatty food because I'm a skinny guy.
Potatoes are better if you, well, they're not as hard, just educational, not as hard on your blood sugar if you cook them and cool them to room temperature or below, because then they turn into a resistant starch rather than a simple sugar.
Oh,
but you still can't like overload them with like full fat sour cream and butter and all the fixed
And
like
cheese.
That is literally how I eat my. You guys literally just named everything that I put on a potato. I get
And
giant like. And Alibaba, I put American biscuits and gravy on a potato. That's how gross I get with potato.
Yeah, that's one too many carbs for me. Just give me one or the other, please.
I'm obsessed with white gravy. And once, I'll never forget, someone I lived with looked at me and they're like, for as much as you cook, you don't know how to make white gravy? And I said, no. And they showed me in 30 seconds. And now I make it all the time.
That's a good one.
Oh, godless. One thing about potatoes, if you try this, potato chips were an accident when someone cut the potatoes too thin. Now there's a magic thickness where it's almost a potato chip and almost a French fry. and you should fry it in a pan in oil, and that's one of the things I did. So if you want something that tastes good, yeah, that.
Are you talking
I
about
prefer
like
my air
Mojo?
fryer.
Do you
Basically
know that's
try
what
to get it between a quarter inch and an eighth, and it
like
has a
like a
very unique consistency.
like a Mojo potato almost?
I don't know what a mojo potato is, but
Just when you I'll
yes,
show
yes.
I'll show you one day. I have a Mojo potato maker because my mom was obsessed with like Cutco knives, the Avon lady, anyone that came to the house, she would probably buy your stuff if you were a good salesperson. So I have this thing that you put your potato in and you just literally you pull down and it makes Mojo potatoes. Now I'm craving potato. So fun fact, Phoenix. When I moved from my hometown where I live now to Arizona. I went to Arizona State University, completely flunked out. I moved to Los Angeles. I met an ex-girlfriend of mine. She lived 2 blocks from the original Tommy's where you could only walk up to it. And I became a lifelong addiction. Their Tommy's are all over LA now. It's like a major LA chain. Fun LA fact. I think Mojo Potato is a West Coast term. Has anyone ever heard of Shakey's Pizza?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, that's West Coast. That's Southern California then.
No, but that's like if I say a garbage platter, I think Kilroy might know, but that's a weird New York thing.
Now I just have Louie blaring between my ears. Dun-dun-dun. I rock out. Like I am anti for everybody who thinks that I am like sitting in this room brooding and like obsessing over things that I can't control. No. I'm rocking out to music in general. And because I was super emo in my youth, I really don't listen to love songs or anything sad. So everything's really hyped up.
Yep, Kilroy knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're making me hungry.
It's been fun. I have to basically get to bed soon so I can get up at 3 a.m. Like hanging out here. Hope we can do it again.
You're always invited back. We'll be here next Monday. Now, how does that song? Now I have that song just blasting in my head. Sally O'Malley. Butterfly and I love Louie Louie by the Sonics. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. Butterfly, and I want to know what is a garbage plate.
Oh, now I'm gonna have. It's like everything. Let me consult the book of Google real quick here, just so I don't make a fool of myself. Unless Kilroy beats me to the punch.
Today is also National Calvin Day. Oh, Liz might like this. I don't know if she's back yet, but it's also National what is it? Encourage a Young Writer Day.
Yeah. Yes, Kilroy had the right answer. It's a whole bunch of meats, like cheeseburger, sausage, steak, whatever meat you want, with French fries, beans, macaroni, and some type of a hot sauce. So from Rochester, probably Frank's would be the only traditional option for that.
That actually sounds like something I would eat because I'm chasing a heart attack.
Yes.
I'm one of those people that shouldn't eat the things that I eat. I am definitely chasing a heart attack.
I don't know what a
I
salt
think
box is.
yeah. I love hearing about all these things that I've never heard of. Even places I've been, like, that's the difference between living somewhere and visiting somewhere. Because when you visit somewhere, you only go and you mainly see a lot of the cliche things,
Yeah.
But when you actually talk to someone who's from there, they know where all the good stuff's.
Right.
You will be missed, Commander. Now, Phoenix and I are going to go off on a right-wing tirade. I'm kidding. I'm
Seriously.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, we could. No, I'm mostly sad that I broke I broke the ruffler foot from my white box. A piece fell off.
No.
Something's, we're going to have to I'm going to have to send pictures and I might need an intervention of how to fix this.
If you lived any closer, show me what it looks like. I guarantee you I have like 9 of them.
All right. I'll DM you tomorrow with pictures of my. Because
Yeah.
I've got another one, but that one's not working right either. These ruffler feet are like killing me right now.
That reminds me. Let me see if I can pull up the pictures of my garden that's already growing.
No, yeah,
The blade
let's see
fell
here.
off.
It's not the blade that fell off. It's at this. Here, can you make me huge for a second?
Of course.
So at the front of it, there's this little tiny piece that slipped off and it's bent. So I figured out how it slides on this it. I don't know what I did to it, and I'm so sad. But if it slides on and off, I don't understand. I don't know what I did, and I don't know how to fix it. Help me! Send help!
Oh, that's my middle name. Honestly, Alibaba, you're lucky I don't have your phone number because, like, recently I've been stumped on a few sewing machines.
Seriously, I know my next is like,
Dumb.
will my sewing machine oil take gaffer's tape off of my hula hoops because they've got white resin from the gaffer's tape that had been on them for years, and my teacher Ty was like, your tricks were a little distracting because your hoops weren't all the same. And I was like, oh fudge, as if my act is not like a hot piece of garbage already than to have a technical issue.
I always feel like that. Like it's always like you get your stuff together and then the arm comes loose or something. Like, oh, you missed a stitch somewhere and you notice it in the very last moment. There's a restaurant in Joshua Tree that serves Mike's Mess. Oh, it's the best breakfast. Garbage plate makes me think of that. I miss traveling. This whole conversation is making me miss all the weird greasy spoons I would find along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anywhere else, but here in Western Pennsylvania, we have these things called wedgies. Basically, it's a sub sandwich, but instead of being served on a bun, it's served between 2 pizza crusts. Oh, I'd have to eat that at the hospital. I would have to eat that at
calzone on crack.
Oh man, when KFC made that sandwich with 2 pieces of chicken as the bun, I still haven't ordered it yet. And the older I get, the less I can eat that thing. Oh, Kilroy, that sounds like a coronary waiting to happen. Is that Grist Ruffler?
No, that was actually. I do have the grist riffler also, but no, this is the one that came in my white puzzle box. So it just, I don't see where there's I don't know. I'll put pictures up on the Twatters tomorrow, and people can send help.
Hello. How are you doing? Your white roadie embossed is lovely. It's one of my favorite machines. How are you doing? Welcome to the Godless Sewing channel. Hello. I love white roadie are some sturdy machines. Absolutely sturdy machines.
I love this. I have not touched an electric machine since December because I'm having an affair with Brunhilde.
This whole conversation is making me want to get my 1906 Singer together. And yes, I still have the Singer bass in the back of my truck.
You should just take the damn thing out finally.
And no one's stealing it. It's heavy. No one's stealing it.
Nobody wants. I mean, who but a weirdo like us would be like, "Oh my god, look at that treadle bass in the back of that guy's car. We should haul it off."
You'd need a really buff friend. You need some strong friends to carry that thing off too.
Oh,
how do you? Is it water Water. My English is terrible. I'm terrible at pronouncing things. Hello, things. Yes, awesome. White and Boss Rotary is a very nice machine. There is a bronze one. That's like when I see the specialty singers, like the red painted ones. Would that be blasphemy if I did that? If I took one of my machines and like got it professionally painted red?
No, that's what I was telling you. That woman, what's her channel? Her new channel, Promethean Sewing Machines. She has been taking apart and just sanding down and using Rust-Oleum. I'll send you the link. She's been doing that. She just made like a beautiful teal one. She did a red one. She put an orange one and then took the original pressed paper case and covered it in the irises from Van Gogh. So she named that machine Vincent. And then it's been using like water off decals and made a rose one.
Rhymes with neighbor or way.
Water nay.
One A. I like that. I grew up on the super northwest side of Los Angeles. My dude bro nomenclature shines through, and yes, Kilra, you mean the LA Unified School District isn't a world class institution? I will say though, there were certain courses that I took in high school that people were taking in junior college, so we were a few steps ahead. A few. I would take a really bad machine with no decals and strip and paint one. I was thinking about that. I have like that's the problem though. Like with my black singers, the ones from 1930 on, their artwork. They are absolute artwork, you know. So I don't want to take them apart because
she had a great comment though. She's like, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, if you look at my video, okay, when I used Gojo on my Star sewing machine, I almost cried when I took some of the decals off the base of the sewing machine. So I did that myself. So like Gojo works, but it strips everything off. And I used the non-abrasive pumice Gojo, you know. Well, it's not pumice, but it's the non-abrasive Gojo. There's some so rare that I would never do that, but keep them that worn black. Exactly. That's my problem. Water nay. Okay. Awesome. Welcome. That's like one of my that's like one of my my things. That's why I keep the sewing machines the way they are, because I learned my lesson. Like they look better with the wear and the tear and the yellowness of all the years and all the gajillion cigarettes that were smoked around them.
I know, but this lady had a great point that like a Model T only came in black. And do you think like somebody would want to have had a different color if they could have had an option? So her approach is like, I'm just making it like the way somebody might have wanted their machine decked out, but they literally couldn't have it that way.
True. Let me see if I can find my Star.
I dropped the link to her channel in the downstairs, in the description. I mean, I always say downstairs, in the chat.
Oh man!
God, listen to use fucking Gojo on a damn sewing machine. Well, Kilroy's mad at you for tonight.
and you know what the sad thing is that this Star is a piece of history because it has the Made in Occupied Japan plaque on it, and I feel like such a dunce for the Star is still kind of there, but this thing is so heavy. These old machines are like boat anchors. Yeah, if there's a decrepit looking machine, then you feel free to paint it and glow it up. But if you have decals in good condition, yeah, unfortunately, I learned that the hard way. But you know what, though? I learned so much with this Star sewing machine that it helped me out so much with restoring sewing machines because I made a ton of mistakes and I refuse to repeat them. Good choice, butterfly. That rock can get bad really quickly, specifically near ocean. That's true. I like her channel, even if she be be Oh, she's
Controversial. I don't
controversial.
know anything.
About 30 pounds. That star one. It doesn't feel like it. This thing feels like a boat anchor. But I absolutely love how it says "Made in Occupied Japan." Oh, that thing's heavy. And I wiped
Yeah,
the
and some
star.
of it, there's. Oh, you wiped.
It had a whole star in the
Oh,
middle, and I wiped it off with Gojo. So I learned. I
yeah,
learned.
I know. She even got like prints for one of them that was like a singer clone. Was it a? It was a clone, but she wiped it off. But then she had a decal printed that had all the same information on it, so that it still was able to tell its origin stories.
Awesome. And that's another thing. And I say this almost every week, but like when I look at the older sewing machines, I want to know the story. Like, I want to know every single garment that was made on it. I want to know the life of every person that touched that machine. Like, I'm
Yes,
so curious. Like, this was
I
made
know.
after World War II in occupied Japan. I want to know who made this, what their life story is, where they ended up, you know? That's why I love these old sewing machines.
Yeah, I want to know all the petticoats and corsets that this machine sewed, and like leather chaps, because I think it was used for leather work most recently. Oh, they were in good condition. I don't know. I'm not a I don't have an eye for the mechanical stuff. I need it to work.
I like learning like this 1906 singer also taught me a lot of lessons because it's the exact opposite of your white rotary. Sometimes with typewriters you have to do a complete strip. I love that because they don't because they don't smell like cigarettes. They smell like they were in the Marlboro bathroom. I love the cig
Right.
smell.
If you love the smell and it's too much, then you know they're like, this was.
So I have a Singer Genie that every time I open the case, you can smell every single cigarette. When it gets overheated, it doesn't smell like a machine, it smells like cigarettes. I, it's the strangest
So when
thing.
you're having a craving, you're like, oh, let me fire up that baby. I just need a hit of that tobacco wafting.
The Singer Genies were awesome machines, but they were kind of bad ideas. They have like slant problems, all kinds of problems. And I saw all these complaint videos. So I was like, I pulled out my Singer Genie because it when I got it, it was in perfect condition. And then I started sewing with it and the slant broke. So it has the exact or whatever, like something happened to the point where I literally had to replace the entire arm piece on it. The
I
Singer
want to
Genie
come
was a
live at
mess.
Alibaba's house. Well, you would. I hate the cold, and I moved from New York, but I might. Oh, and Canada's got its issues, but shit, I just want to play with your toys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Mark, for the suggestion for the alcohol. Does it need to be like ethanol, or can I use rub isopropyl?
Just optimization car polish. I never thought about that. What about the old like American? What do we use? I have that standard stuff that smells like coconuts.
No, she was using a one that they use for cars. That's a clear varnish. I can rewatch the video and give you an update. Patty and Selma must have owned that machine. Oh God, Kara, you're cracking me up.
I'm serious. And you know what? I grew up around smokers. Hey, Liz, we were wondering where you were. I grew up around smokers, so I'm one of those weird people. I'm not necessarily picky about it. I smoked. I quit smoking nicotine 5 years ago. I get it, you know.
And no, not for a sewing machine, for my hula hoops to get the gaffer's tape residue off.
But this 1906 is one of my new pet projects, and oh, is my signal always fades at the good part, so I'm gonna wait for my signal to come back. Okay, there it is. Okay, my signal's back. This machine is a reason why I'm driving around with the bottom piece of a treadle in my car, and of course my signal's bad again. But I love this machine. If you see the decals on this thing, it's gold.
That was like my grandma's. I wish it didn't get destroyed at my mother-in-law's house because like the wood rotted. They took it apart. I can't be mad because she is no longer here.
And that's another thing. So what should I do? Should I like I'm just gonna take the cabinets, everything off, and just replace the top. And then just put this on. But do I need a specific type of wood or something? Is that gonna like bring the value down? Do I have to replicate the table? I'm gonna start looking that up because I have a wood shop. Like anyone who's seen me dancing in the shop, it's a fun place, but work actually gets done there. I use TR3 to polish my machines. I'm gonna go back and look at all of this because I will take all these suggestions. Was helping out a guy in a wheelchair. It's so floody and rainy. Yikes! Stay safe. Yes, absolutely. The Tiffany decals. I got this from an antique store near my job called Rooster's Relics. I got really lucky. Peasant decal set. I don't know specifically what this is, but this is like one of the fancier machines that I have. This is a 1906. They took their time because from like the early 1930s, 1940s machines are solid, but anything after World War II were semi-mass produced. They were still great machines. Like I have two, one's from Scotland and one's from somewhere else in the UK. They are solid machines. I could use them every day, like no problem. Oak is not a bad idea. Yay, Liz, new friends. Say hello. Typewriters have some decals, and there's one guy I know that swears by new finish for cars. Ooh, I actually have that in my house. It's an orange bottle, and he says it's basically cheating, literally wipe. I have all kinds of weird goopy stuff because I work with a lot of machinery. Either alcohol would remove tape residue. Yay! Hello. Oh, whoops. What is going on? If it's plywood on the top edge is formed so fabric doesn't grab the edges. Oh, that's good to know. I need to write this down seriously. I need to write all of this down. I need to like study a sewing table because that's the one thing I like. Just because I have the tools to do it doesn't necessarily I have the know-how. So I'm taking all suggestions. I am man enough to admit when I don't know something. Can you see the front of the sewing machine? The closer you can match the original, the better. Just a little lag. Yeah, my internet provider is gonna get one heck of a phone call tomorrow because we pay a lot of money, so I can watch Canadian hockey and have a decent a decent signal. Because I need to watch the Senators play for no good reason. And I'm not just saying I'm a Senators fan. I just obsessively watch hockey. Oh, absolutely. Give me a second. This thing is just heavy.
Look at that. Oh, oh, yes, please, baby.
That's a work of art. This one's a work of art. And the other white rotary that I scored at this is a Singer. This is from 1906. Oh, the front decals. Man, the mosquitoes are out in full force already.
Oh God. I know I had to take care of a moth that eats my wool. I'm like, I don't usually kill insects, but if you're going to eat my sweaters, you have to go. If they were store bought, I might not care, but I made my wool sweaters, or my grandma
every
did.
every once in a while, um, a moth will come out of the house and it's like, I was born in the middle bedroom, and it's like some giant moth, and I can't even be mad at it because
You
I have
have Mothra living there.
yeah. No, but I had mothballs for a while, but it reminded, because I come from an older family.
Right, it smells
Uh,
like grandma's house or your parents' house.
yeah, I was an oops baby, so like, I grew up around senior citizens, so there was tons of mothballs.
Yeah, my grandma's house, chicken soup and mothballs.
They should get the almost perfect decals that Tiffany said. I was into decals for a while, especially when I was trying to replace the star, but then I figured out I could probably do it myself.
But use a laser printer, not an inkjet.
That is true. And you're right, Water and I. Moths, they only go for the good stuff. Like this, my Egyptian print, even though it was sold to tourists, it was sold to tourists in the 1950s. And so I do everything. I have a few of those, and I do everything I can to keep the moths away from that because they love the older stuff.
Yeah, put some tea tree or lavender oil on like a cotton ball or some paper towel. Like that's what I stick it in my, or yep, cedar chests or the cedar bricks. Yes, Kira, you're too smart for our own good.
Elizabeth, I have not yet sewn on the Kenmore. I'm still soaking it. Again,
And
disclaimer,
lubing
please
it.
do not get
We're talking about sewing machines, YouTube. This is not a pea site.
YouTube has really cracked down. So I'm gonna really I wanted to talk about we had another mass hooting today, but I
Oh,
really
the
had to
one in
think about.
Louisville.
Yes, I will never leave my house again. I'm glad I
Right,
live
don't
in a
go to the
household.
bank.
Goosh.
And
Well,
wasn't
with
that a big employee who did it? Like I just saw the highlights.
I honestly, it hurts me so much. I don't even look anymore. I go off and on wrestling back and forth with watching the news, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a sweater, And while
Yeah.
everyone's here, let's see. I'm gonna make myself really big, really quick. There's a video on YouTube. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Laser sketching. Yeah. It's a joke. It's a joke that keeps on giving. Sorry, I grew up in a very Mormon neighborhood, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. Please don't ban us. But I haven't finished yet, and the coat's kind of falling off anyways. But I made a coat because I'm obsessed with flower prints. I'm in my flower print era right now. Oh. But I haven't decided. Should I add side pockets or should I do my traditional Harlock the Great front pockets? Hold on,
Well,
let me
you
get
can
my
do fabric on the
glasses.
side seams. You're a little late to do side pockets if you're going to do them in the seams.
I'm a professional when it comes to using seam rippers. So because I've made so many mistakes in my life, I could
Yeah.
easily I was thinking about that. I'm Captain Exacto Knife.
Right.
You've been in your flower era. It's because I wear black every day. I wear black for everything, and so I like to change it up. And flower prints are great. I was thinking about side pockets. Definitely about side pockets.
All right, then break out the seam ripper.
I used to write a poem for every shooting to honor the ones that have passed, but I obviously got so overwhelmed. That's what I'm saying. It's so sad. Welt pockets, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all.
That is a different skill. Those ones also scare me, like buttonholes on my machine, not by hand.
Some people put blocks of what is that? Coniferal wood
Oh,
around to get rid of
I think that
moths.
might
But
be like
here,
what we call camphor.
oh, I'm gonna be getting a dumpster pretty soon. Some personal news. I'm sharing I have so much stuff in my house. I'm getting a dumpster, and that might not be a bad idea because I always do the exterminator thing where I completely go around my house. Oh, let's make you big for a second.
All right, I
Hello.
got flowers too. I have a tree
Yay!
with ruffles to match my entire daisy ensemble.
And to be 100% Heelroy, I use an X-Acto knife, but I'm just saying seam ripper to seem like a sewist. But I use or I have these strangely sharp letter openers that I use. And I also so I completely it's not a failure. So I was going for Godless Sewing and the Technicolor coat, and it's not a failure, okay? Before I put it on, I'm gonna say it's not a failure. It definitely is gonna need some more work, but I have officially turned it into like a smock, dashiki. I don't know what it is.
A
Be careful,
schmata?
Liz. But I'm gonna put it on. You need some channels to root wires so that you can load that thing up with spy. I have quite like Kilroy, you already know. You already know. I have all kinds. And because my pops was crazy, I have 2 pen cameras. So if you ever see me with a pen in my pocket, like this one, even though
You're
this
in
one isn't a
trouble.
camera. Yeah. I can be an
But you're
undercover
in a
Karen.
two-party consent state, so you got to be careful. You can't just film anybody.
I found that like my neighbor found that out the hard way. It is
Nice.
illegal to you can't show the address, you can't say where they live. Like there are some rules here where I live. It's illegal to dox people. At least here in the state of California. Yeah, camphor. Oh, it's a tree originally from China that grows like a weed.
Yeah, you too, Mark. Where's your YouTube channel? You, Alibaba, and Kilroy. Like, I need more
Absolutely.
of you in my life. Oh God.
Be careful. But my I was going for Godless Sewing in a Technicolor coat, and it kind of like my hood failed.
Oh right, was the Hood Misadventure. And I'm trying to sew the seam on the wrong side again. No. And yes, I'm stitching French seams and not pressing in between. You can hate me later, but I am finger pressing.
Alexa, what's the temperature right now?
Right now, it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Would you also like tomorrow's weather?
Alexa,
No.
no thank you.
Stop making the rest of us jealous.
Alexa, thank you.
You're so welcome. Your kindness really gives me a charge.
Aww.
Remember, Alexa's gonna remember me when the robots take over. I like this.
That's super cute. I do like that stripy one. That
I like
big
it.
giant hoodie pocket.
I'm sorry. I'm in love with the pocket. I could sneak a dinner for 2 into a movie theater with this thing.
Right? And a gallon of water to go with it.
I'm in love with this giant pocket. So that's my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Alibaba's yelling at me. Press those seams. I know, it's a scandal. I know you don't, but I would love to listen to you talk with all your knowledge. No pressure. I'm getting ripped on.
I do the same thing. I think my phone. I like both of those. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to like I wear a lot of black because I grew up around a lot of I had a lot of really positive male influences in my life, but they were like biker hillbilly, Willie Nelson beard, cigarette smoking kind of people. And I dressed like a 1980s biker. I do. So I'm trying to add color to my wardrobe. And I've been threatening to make Godless Sewing in the Technicolor coat forever. So, but what do you call this? What would I call this? Because it has a giant pocket. It's functioning. Sorry, what's that?
A hoodie with a kangaroo pocket without a hood?
But there's got to be because every time I think I invent something, there's already a name for it. So there's got to be a name for this style because um I used to watch wrestling back in the day, and there was these two wrestlers named Matt and Jeff Hardy, and they would always wear these like long sleeve shirts with a shirt on top, but I never knew that those shirts were made for them, and it was like this weird thermal that was half sewn in. And they're actually, I own one of their shirts. It's actually really awesome.
Oh, I didn't know they used to see. I used to just wear thermal under those like waffle print fabric thermal underwears with a t-shirt on top. I didn't realize you could like get it all in one. I used to wear two shirts.
Oh, exactly. Me too. Oh, why don't I? You should see the look on people's face when I walk into a fabric store when they don't know me. They're like, "Hi." I'm like, "I'm not. I'm just here. I'm just here because I heard you guys had a sale. Just heard you had a sale."
Just put me to the discount section, and no harm will come to any of you.
Oh, Kings scored. Oh, I hope we win. We've dropped our last three. Oh,
It's
I can't
funny,
even look.
Ollie, a smuggler's jacket coming up with a new hook.
Smuggler's jacket. I like it. I like it. I like the big. I like the big pocket. You know. My son's not a little guy anymore, but in the little guy phase, in the diaper bag phase, it paid to have big pockets.
Right.
They're so hardcore, though. I wonder if they'd let me walk into Dodger Stadium with this on because of the big pocket.
Do you want to walk in there anyway?
I've been so scared to go to a sporting event since the plague that I have not. So I'm trying to challenge myself this year.
Yeah, that's why I went back to the circus studio. That and they had a class that wasn't aerial because I am kind of afraid of heights.
There should be an automatic pop-up at the screen when the Kings score at this point. Oh, hold on. Disclaimer.
I think you could do that.
A full disclaimer. Hey, to my sewing peeps, I love you. I absolutely think you guys are amazing. Oh, hold on. Whispers, it's nay, rhymes with hey.
Okay.
I'm telling you, the LAUSD failed us all. Oh, it's water. Nay. It's my accent too. I have a really weird surfer like twang to my voice. I'm apologizing now because the Los Angeles Kings have made the playoffs, so I'm going to be a mess. And if they lose in the first round, I'll be good in a week. If they last a month, I'm like, I'll just be talking, and then I'm going to be like, I'm going to mute myself, but then you'll see me like, oh, come on.
And then the meltdown happens.
Well, I know that we're like, every year when we make the playoffs, like, our first place team in the Western Conference would be fourth place in the Eastern Conference. So I know there's stiff competition on the East Coast.
You're right, because there's actually snow in cold weather.
Well, now there's teams all the way from Vancouver, Seattle, and now LA. They have the Ducks. We have San Jose. We have quite a few teams now, you know, from Vancouver all the way down to LA.
How I've been standing here this whole time, and where did I lose a sleeve to? I bet
Let's
Loki's
see.
sleeping on it. Yes, he is.
It's also National Hug Your Dog Day. And it's also National Nana Day. Okay. So when I looked this up, it's to people with the name Nana. And I was obsessed with Deep Space Nine back in the day. And so happy Nana Day to Nana Visor from Deep Space Nine. I thought that was the strangest thing. I don't follow hockey, so I'm learning a lot.
I know. I would have thought like bananas or grandma, Italian grandmas, or like whatever ethnic grandmas go by Nana.
I wish it was Sidney Crosby. The Boston Bruins have the best they have the best record in the league right now, and they seem unstoppable, and I can't stand the Bruins. If they make it to the championship, I won't watch. That's how much of a baby I am. That's how much of a man baby I am. I'll peek. My phone will let me know what's going on. I love watching the Penguins. I was obsessed with Jaromir Jagr when I was a kid. If anyone is into mullets, 1980s and 1970s, 80s, and 90s hockey players had the greatest hair of all time. Hockey hair is real. They have these just giant mullets. And Jaromir Jagr has a world famous mullet. If you Google it, it'll come right up. It was that era. Much how it's weird to me how Jankos are coming back. And another religious friend of mine asked me to make them a long denim dress. The 80s are coming back, and the 90s.
That is true. When it is warmer, I will wear my Canadian tuxedo.
I grew up watching the Pens. That's one thing about growing up in the burbs. I was fortunate my parents had cable, and so I grew up watching seasons of certain teams. I watched all the old Pens runs, all of their runs. I miss old school hockey before the rule change. Have you seen Bob Cop, Bad Cop? No, I have not. Oh, whoops. Bond Cop, Bad Cop. No, I have not. I'm definitely going to have to look that up. Autocorrect and I are not friends. We are not friends. In my phone, if you type in autocorrect and then space, it literally will say is evil. Because I've typed that in so many times. Like I am so over autocorrect. I'm trying to think like oak was a really good idea for the tabletop of that sewing machine because that's gonna be my next like really big idea because once I get my dumpster, I'm gonna clear the side of my house and that's like my workshop. And the neighbors' kids are way older, so they won't complain. Canadian, French, English, hockey, police movie. Oh my gosh, no! I definitely where is my pen? I should be writing all this down or at least time stamping this.
I know. I forgot what we trademarked yesterday, what I said. And I was like, oh, am I going to have to go back and rewatch my stream for my new moniker?
My friend's uncle is Jacques Bellevue from the Montreal Canadiens. That's awesome. I have a Rosenthal jersey. I have a few Canadiens jerseys too because they stomped the Kings. Oh, was that what? You know, it's so funny. I'm going to Hockey Hell because I can't remember what year that was. It was 1990-91 when the Kings lost to the Canadiens in the Cup. I believe that was their run.
Autocorrect. Tuck it right now. Crack me up.
Yay, Liz. Liz knows when I'm really like having a bad day, I'll send her a message that says, "These ducking mother duckers, duck, 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 duck." Like
Goose.
Literally with those words. Absolutely, Kilroy. Absolutely. I miss my hockey hair. I need to find my fro picture. I used to have it really close. I used to have it like right here. I miss my giant fro. But like I said, I am completely balled up to here. I've just I accept it. I'm in love with the giant 5-course meal pocket. Liz is in her TARDIS again. She's catching up.
Yes. On 1.5 speed.
Oak is the best but expensive. Singer used veneer with oak edged glue on it. I wondered about that too. I'm gonna have to come back and write all of this down. Because what I'm gonna do is I have a Lowe's account. I'm gonna go to Lowe's with dimensions and be like, I need this, I need wood cut in this. Instead of doing it myself, I'm gonna actually I don't know if I have confidence in the kids working at Lowe's nowadays.
Fair. Right, you need to find somebody who's our age or older to cut your wood.
I prefer the 5-course meal to be in my mouth or stomach personally. Well, I'm talking about smuggling food into something like back in the day. Like my mom would take us to the grocery store before we went to movies because candy was like, a quarter back then. And it was really expensive at the grocery store. So we would literally walk in
At
with
the
candy
movie
in our
theater.
pocket. Yeah, sorry, at the movie theater. So we'd literally walk in with candy in our pockets. After 1878. Next week I'll have the table out because the weather's getting good. I'm gonna have to start working on my house. I have no excuse because it's not raining anymore. It's bad enough when it corrects you wrongly, but when it changes an actual word for some other word, I want to scream same. And it's always when it's important and it's always out of context. Always. Liz, you are our favorite time traveler. We love you here at the Godless Sewing channel. You're great. Why does it want me to? If I double click it, it's either asking me to block the person or put them in a timeout, and I'm like, no.
Just single click, one click, not 2 clicks, only one clicky.
Here's a cut sheet, random Lowe's kid. I'm serious. Like some of them, honestly, and I'm not an ageist because it's my generation too. For as much as I can't speak, I can do math like that. I can do math in my head, dimensions. It's the reason I have the job that I have. If you hand me dimensions, I'm like, okay, done. I have the dimensions in my head even before it's even out on the cutting room floor. But these kids nowadays cannot count, and it's not an indictment on everybody. I'm a consumer who pays attention. I'm constantly shopping for sewing supplies. I'm constantly shopping for work supplies. I have to buy power washers every other year. I'm a real consumer. So I notice when people can't count anymore. And I work in cash too sometimes. So I'll hand someone like if something's 175, I'll hand them $200 bills, and it takes them a minute to give me my change. We used to smuggle food into the theaters. That reminds me, I still have my coffee. Monday nights are the nights I stay up all night because I drink half a pot of coffee.
I would not sleep.
That's why I seem way more peppy than I really am on Monday nights. It's because I drink a boatload of coffee. So I have to go to work at 4 a.m. With everything digital, they don't know how to make change. It bothers me, but maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just that old whiny Karen, like, and I think because I have a teenage son, like I'm constantly like, okay, I give you this. How much changes do I get back? Like all I can do is teach my child how to count. We're having storms here, so I'm right behind you, Kilroy.
Oh no. Stay safe, everybody. This weird weather is too much.
Absolutely. And it's unseasonably warm here. We spend
Shush
too much
up
time
with your warm.
I know. No one likes this. No one feels sorry for the skinny guy or the skinny guy who lives in a warm climate.
Or people who complain that they're 5'9" and they're too short. I'm over it.
I live in a land of giants, Phoenix. I live in a land. Everyone around me is over 6 feet tall.
We represent the lollipop guild. The lollipop guild.
I agree with you, Kilroy. We do spend too much time teaching our kids how to calculate to land on Mars than to give proper change back. Coffee is life. As a matter of fact, on my new battle jacket, where's the patches? I'm going to put my coffee patch on my Klingon battle vest. I've decided. As a true Klingon, we drink coffee. In some fast food joints, the register automatically orders change from the bank. That's crazy to me. I guess I like worked on the old cash registers where you pulled down the side and you had to think about it. Weird weather
Right?
everywhere, absolutely. I think it's all noise and no rain. Boo. Oh, that's the worst when it's like we've been having windstorms here too, and it's just noisy. And no, my neighbor still hasn't fixed his shed, and my garage is open, so I know he can probably hear me. Because I know I'm loud. I know I'm loud. We're having the weather people think California has all the time. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's strange. Stop complaining. I know Liz would throw something at me if she could.
Seriously, I'm not that far behind her.
They don't even teach the times table anymore here in school. What? They have the attitude that everyone has a calculator in their phone. That's crazy. That drives me
These
crazy
people not
thinking.
survive the zombie apocalypse.
No, or they're gonna get ripped off by people like me who know how to count.
Well, then it's their own fault.
I feel sorry. Like it's a disability in this world if you can't read or write. You know what I'm saying? And we are churning out children that can't, and it scares me. It
Yeah.
like my son has ASD, and he can like sit down and actually like read and write. You know, it's a skill. It's a skill that if you just sit down and concentrate. Well, I don't know. I'm being too much of an ageist. Look at the guy complaining about the weather. He's got a Virginia hand under one arm, complaining that he doesn't have a loaf of bread under the writing that down. That's my next tattoo, Kilroy. That is my next tattoo, even though I don't have one.
You're gonna have to make sure you save the chat so you can reference all the great comments later.
If I had a tattoo for every time I said I was going to get a tattoo, I would be a storybook. I would be an absolute storybook.
I know
so
your face
excited.
would be covered and you'd be creepy.
I think that's creepy. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to judge. I think that's like, I'm not like human beings don't scare me. Okay. But I get that initial, like, oh, that person's kind of scary. When I see people with like face tattoos, and I live in LA, you see face tattoos everywhere. It's different though. Like in certain islands, like there are certain cultures that have face tattoos. They're awesome.
Oh, right, like the Maoris have all there's certain
Yes.
traditional things, yes, that makes sense and it's their culture and heritage, but when you're just having like teardrops and spider webs and creepy things for no good reason, it's like,
Have you seen the ones that last for just a year? No, I have not. I'm trying to think. Let's see. It's Hug Your Dog Day, National Youth HIV and AIDS Awareness Day. How sad is that we still need this after all these years? That holiday was started over 30 something years ago.
yep, change your needles, kids. Do not share needles,
And
change them.
well, it's more for people who are born with the virus
Oh, yes.
because they didn't because their parents didn't didn't do that, you
Didn't
know.
change their
Yeah.
needles.
It's so sad. It like when I saw that, I'm like, are we still fighting that fight after all of these years? You know, so sad. What scares me is how many people of all generations are scared to think. Thank you. Like here, like where I live, the cops were starting to get a little dictatorish, so we took all their powers away in my town. The only thing they can do is pull you over now. If you're speeding, and if you're not, they literally have to leave you alone. Big difference between a culture taboo and a job stopper tattoo. You're right. I would hire somebody that had that. If you had like your neighborhood tattooed on your face, I wouldn't hire you. That is very true. That is very true. It's scary. Why don't we? Why do we not have a cure? So, we, in a weird way, we do have a cure for HIV, but it's the treatment for leukemia. So you have to be rich and you have to be able to physically withstand the treatment. And Magic Johnson um, has shown that he no longer has the HIV virus in his blood.
Right, not
Whether it,
undetectable levels.
yes, whether it comes back or not, like cancer, because like my mom had breast cancer, okay, and she always says I'm a survivor. She never says, oh, it was cured. She always says like I survived it because it could come back. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I think they should treat it more like that than just saying it's a cure, because that's kind of, it's false advertising. You know what I'm saying? And the cure for the cure for leukemia is traumatic to the body.
Yeah.
I know we have meds that can basically hit the pause button on it. There's all kinds of stuff, but sadly enough, in today's world, you have to be rich. I read Scientific American, and years ago there was an article that basically said that if you're a person of color, do not get cancer, because they showed the cancer rates of people of color, and they were like, you're gonna die, and it was just so sad. And it was more or less because people didn't go to the doctor, or exposure, or they didn't have access to healthcare.
Well, after you've been gone through the Tuskegee experiments and your family lines knew about this, wouldn't you be scared to trust anybody in a white coat too?
Yes. Yes. That's not even a long answer. That's just the short answer. Like, yes.
Right?
So that's what happened, especially around here. I knew about the suppression, but I didn't know that it was curish. And the only reason I know this is because Magic Johnson claims to be cured of HIV. And that's because of the treatment he went through. But again, America is pay to play. I like
Yes.
our justice system. If you have a lawyer, you probably won't go to jail. If you don't, you're going to go to jail. It's so sad, and it's for even for minor things all the way up to Trump. People wondered why Trump went home. It's because he had lawyers. Let's be real. He had lawyers. They're like, okay, the court date's on this day. We'll see you then. And
Well,
they do the
also, we
same
don't.
thing.
New York State shouldn't be saddled with the tax burden, and the us as taxpayers shouldn't have to face the burden of having his Secret Service detail at the jail with him. And the charges are old and stupid. It's the same thing with the whole Clarence Thomas debacle that's going down. That's like 10 years old news that they're trying to rehash on him.
AIDS mutates so fast that it makes a cure very difficult. There's talk about trying to create an mRNA vaccine for AIDS. Again, I think it's because he's rich, and I agree with Kilroy. Excuse me, I agree with you, Mark. And see, again, poor people will never see this, so the AIDS rates will stay high, because even if they did have a cure, they're not going to give it to people until they figure out a way that people have to pay for it, or that a country would have to pay billions for the cure to give it, for the
Well, and the
formula.
U.S. is the least of the issues. Like it's the African countries that still have the highest AIDS burden, where their folks are getting assaulted and they're having signs of like, oh, if you don't want to be at risk for AIDS, you need to pick out like the 8-year-olds like as billboards. It's weird and disgusting.
And they also preach PrEP to the LGBTQIA plus community, and I need to do more research. But there is a drug now that is supposed to be an HIV suppressant, where basically if you have intercourse with somebody who has it, you will not get it.
I know, but it's only for
Men?
gentlemen or folks
Yeah.
who were assigned male at birth. So what about I'm not it degrades me to say a human with a uterus or a birthing person. Like I'm not going to use that language. Like
You don't
a
have to here.
lady.
You don't have to. Also, and honestly, the only reason I even know about most of this is because it's advertised, because I watch a lot of drag queen content. And so between the evangelical Christians
It's
and
even on like YouTube. It's like plastered with all these PrEP commercials. It's
it
just
drives me crazy. Like I get it. And then the PrEP is all over TV. They have PrEP commercials on baseball and hockey. in LA at least. And yes, the bail system is unreal here in America. It is pay for play. It's so sad. I think about this all the time. Like, there are people that are in jail right now just because they couldn't afford to get a lawyer, and they're in there for a parking ticket that they couldn't afford to pay in the first place. You
Mhm.
know, so they're gonna end
Well,
up.
how they're gonna be driving with expired registrations? Because who can afford $800 to $1,100 to register your car in frickin' California? That is dumb.
And I've been saying this since 2017. Fun fact: here in Los Angeles County, when you get a speeding ticket, they start at 1,400. They start. When I got my car towed in my famous video where I laughed. I played the Chips theme song. I was so mad that day. I was pink. I was on fire. I was so mad when I got my car towed. But like, and it was a whole ride of shame because I had to call my mother, and she picked me up in a minivan because she came from the job. She doesn't even own a minivan, but she came from the job, so she came in a minivan. So it was triple ride of shame all the way home. And then
It's too bad she didn't have the PA system playing polka music with bagpipes.
and she was so mad at me for getting my car towed that she was like, "All right, you're taking me to lunch now, and it's gonna be expensive."
We're not going to Red Lobster today, kid.
Yeah, she was so mad. But they got me for almost $5,000 between towing my car and the house because I got towed on a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock because I'm an early riser. I wanted sewing machines. And Ventura has
Just
the
going to
great.
the swap meet.
They got me that day because Ventura has reasonable prices. I purchased $1,000 sewing machine for $40 in Ventura. Like, Ventura does not play. They have reasonable prices. Off work, going to 7-Eleven. I used to volunteer at the AIDS center. Yeah, it's sad. And it's exactly. And I think because I have that connection, it absolutely hurts. That's worse than any ticket. I agree. And see, that's the problem. I've even heard police officers say out loud, I don't know how people can afford this ticket. Like, then stop handing them out, bro. Just some friendly advice. Yeah, I think the people I saw were like nothing, were like magic. Yes.
No, they weren't rich ex-basketball players.
5K is extortion. It's extortion. And they put me out.
Well, and I heard that it's their weird ploy to get everybody to take public transit, but if you live in the mountains or live in an odd community, the buses don't run there. Like, to assume that everybody has access to the bus or wants it feels safe taking it. And what is this whole new thing about if they tear down a single story home, they can't replace it with another single story. It's now apartment. So they're trying to get rid of single family dwellings in California now too.
Well, they're claiming it's a space issue, but really, we're ran by rich people and landlords.
Right. People who are out of touch, like, go F yourself.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. And Alibaba Ventura is so bad. They have a bunch of county really cool things like a county hatchery. Isaiah and I used to go there and feed the fish. It was so much fun. That place has
yes.
been closed. It's been closed for 3.5 years. And it was right off the highway. It was so much fun. It was and like they have these machines where you put a quarter in, you get a bunch of feed, and you feed the fish, and they come and they jump over each other. It was great great entertainment for kids, you know.
I used to love going to the hatchery. I know now there's not even a salmon season. They canceled the Chinook season in Oregon and California because I don't even know why, but salmon prices are going to be up the wazoo this
Oh,
next year.
I don't even. Oh, as someone who eats salmon, I'm gonna cry because everything's
Yeah,
already expensive here.
right. Here's your $25 8-ounce fillet of salmon.
It's not as bad as when I lived in Northern Cal. Well, I lived in Central California. I lived in Stockton, and they were selling lobster tail for $100 a tail, and down here they're not even that expensive. If we had a better public transit, people would take it. I would use it. When I lived in deeper in the city, I would take the train all the time. I loved taking the blue line. I took the red line as well when I lived in North Hollywood. Um, I miss taking the train and the bus because I would shove my face in a book. I read the entire Darth Bane series on a transit. I read a ton of Star Trek books. Like I miss public transportation.
See, yeah, I get motion sick, so I can't read while I'm driving. And there was a time where I had to drive at random hours. Like the bus stops at 7 o'clock, and when I was may or may not doing labor and delivery, and I had to leave the house at 3 o'clock in the morning, there was no bus. I needed my car.
You know what? I do not watch not just bikes, but I'm about to subscribe because I love channels like this. I need new stuff to watch too. I definitely need new stuff to watch. Anyone who has any suggestions for anything on YouTube, I live on YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time, and I'm in a bit of a show hole right now. And
Well,
Picard,
if you want some not depressing, but I like the Duran. It's Alex and Alexander. One of them is in Greece, the other was in Europe. It's mostly like what's going on in the world and politics, but it's interesting to see how people who don't live in the United States look at us and what's going on in the world.
I agree. It hurts sometimes when they say certain things, and I'm like that meme that I laughed at where it had an American. No, somebody was holding a brain, and they were like, "No, thanks, bro. I'm an American. I don't need that." It made me laugh out loud, but it also hurt my feelings. I was like, they think we're so dumb, and we kind of are, but we're kind of not. But we are, but we're
Yeah,
not.
no, it's true. I think the best way to look at ourselves is through the eyes of people who don't live here.
I say that all the time. Sometimes you need objectivity. Sometimes you need a third eye to tell you, like, "Hey,
Right,
bro, like, slow down. You're messing up," or that
right. They're
pocket's
not
too
vested.
big.
One of them is a lawyer. The other one, I don't know what he does. He lives in Cyprus and in Greece. It's beautiful.
Ooh, I like the Victorian way with Mrs. Crombie making Victorian foods. Ooh, I like that.
Oh, and then
I
I heard about her, and then there was a parody about two boys who dressed up like her and were in the kitchen. That was also funny.
I'm gonna look that up, Kilroy. I need new stuff. I watch the same channels over and over because I like predictability. You ever heard of a YouTube channel called The History Guy? History deserves to be remembered. Literally one of my favorite channels. I will definitely let me get my newer phone out that I
Right.
still don't know how
And
to use.
America's Untold Stories with Mark Gerber and Eric Hunley, all of the deep, dark American secrets and some funny things are peppered in.
I love history. I've like, but I feel like I've watched all the same documentaries, and what they're doing with a lot of these channels is they show the old documentaries from the History Channel that I watched in high school.
Yeah, no, that is not America's Untold Stories. It's really the things like they just had a couple of 2 weeks of Operation Paperclip, which is horrifying.
Yep.
How we were like, hello, Nazis. Would you like an apartment in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan? We got you covered. Come work for NASA. And then MK Ultra. There was one about Elliott Smith, who was the singer who debatably offed themselves, or maybe the girlfriend actually murdered him. We're not quite sure.
Let's see. Tasting History. I've heard of that.
It's good. I watched that one too.
For something soothing, Martin Dulard. Dulard is restoring 2 stone cottages in Italy in the Italian Alps. Awesome. I love stuff like that.
Kilroy's got a word in this next one I don't think either of us are going to be able to say.
There's this guy I like called British Muzzleloaders. He just does reenactments of Victorian era British and British Empire stuff. You know, I gotta check. I might be subscribed. I love obscure channels. I might be subscribed to that. But like you said one time, and it stuck with me, Kilroy, when you're like, I'm subscribed to like 900 people. I go through and clean up my subscriptions every once in a while because I like getting notifications.
Right. The Townsends are good. I've seen them too. That's a good suggestion, Allie.
I need new stuff to watch. I'm falling in a YouTube hole, and that's impossible because there's no way I found the bottom of YouTube. There's no way.
No.
Lily Beige, either
Lindy Beige.
Lindy Beige. I fired off a punt green once. Kaboom. I knew someone who was a plumber. Who this woman who she had like this stash of guns, and she walks up to this person I know and she's like, "Hey, do you want this blunderbuss?" And the person, and we were having this conversation at the bay at the shop, and the guy looked at her and he was like, "You don't have to pay me. Thank you." And he like completely redid her pipes, and she gave him a 357, all these vintage guns, because she was like, "I don't need them." And she literally gave this man a real blunderbuss, and I was like, wow, that never happened. How come that never happened? Oh, King scored again. Oh, good. I can't stand Vancouver.
Yes,
At
Water
least in
Nate.
hockey.
Serena is good too. She does a lot
Oh,
of like 1950s vintage sewing. Plus, her stove from the 40s or 50s is just beautiful. I want to know where she got that from.
so Reina. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Let me hit the bell icon. I'm already subscribed to her. Oh, that's funny. Mad City Moderns and flipping drawers are good for furniture restoration. I fall down rabbit holes of furniture restoration channels to the point where I drive around my neighborhood looking for people who mistakenly put out Victorian furniture.
Yes.
Actually, a neighbor of mine, she's a slumlord, and she put Victorian furniture. I drove by, and I was like, you know what? I'll come back. When I come back from the store, I'm gonna get my truck. When I came back, it was gone. It was all gone.
Kilroy, I did plug America's Untold Stories, but we can plug it again because it is that good of a station.
I definitely need something new like that.
They're
Good night, butterfly.
Good night,
What kind
honey.
How's it going, Stizzle? How's it going? This is Barcini.
The Hobbit type?
Cherrywood pipe, I believe. I was always told, have a great night, butterfly. I was always told that like it's like I have what's called a church warden's pipe, which is much more thick, but I like the wizardly style because, and I can also drive in my car with this too.
I am
My truck.
Gandalf in a car.
I don't smoke in my car. I smoke in my truck because my truck is hopeless. The car I keep
Right.
nice and clean.
And you take the kid in your car and not your truck.
No, I really don't. Like, and it's loud too. It's not for people with sensory issues. I can see how you wouldn't like it. A punk gun is like an oversized blunderbuss for bird hunting on a lake. That's awesome. Cavalcade or food fight. Cavalcade of food is delight. Imagine finding Victorian furniture on this street. I'm telling you, or it was faux. But the weird thing is that I watched this one YouTube channel and I was like, that never happens. And then literally like a week later, I drove past my neighbor's house and I think she evicted somebody because she put all their furniture on the street. Like she's heartless. And this woman is 6'4". She has no natural predators.
No, she does not.
I've seen her and she looks fierce. She I know she's older than me, but like I drove by, I looked at her, she was smoking a cigarette, just looking at me like, what do you want, young buck? And I'm in my 40s. Yeah.
It was Patty and Selma all put together.
I truly think she's a slumlord. I truly do, because she's already moved some other people in. I'm all about the wizard pipe. And plus, like other stuff, I'm weird. I'm old school, so I think like glass pipes and things like that are kind of inappropriate on streams. I've seen people do it, but I was raised hardcore Roman Catholic. I know I'm an atheist, but I still have that repression.
And the guilt.
Yes. So this is much more classy, you know.
I'm sure you have, Allie, but it's so much easier on the East Coast. On the West Coast, people just have crap.
It's IKEA here. It's very much a lot of people, or like the only people that have old furniture, they inherit it from their grandparents, you know.
Right. Because, I mean, on the East Coast, we used to go to my grandparents' house, and there was houses that were designated. We were like, this was a stop on the Underground Railroad, but we don't have that here on the Best Coast.
No, we don't have history like that. I was shocked when they put a statue to oh, I can't remember his name, so I'm not going to mention it. It was the slave who traveled with Lewis and Clark. I actually visited the statue. It's in Portland. Basically, he was the only person in the party to not be rewarded. And Meriwether Clark took him home, and like he was still a slave. It's actually really sad.
I know.
But
I went to like Frederick Douglass's house and all sorts of things, but that was a long time ago.
the West Coast is young. The West that is very. You know, I really didn't
We're just
realize.
not. Because I mean, we had Mexicans and indigenous folks, but
But when I went to
we
New
don't.
York, like I felt the age. Like when I went to
Yeah.
Brooklyn, like the Bronx is not New York. I know this, guys. But like when I went to certain places, like it felt like the movie. It felt older to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
even parts of New
no, I do
Jersey,
because I've been there.
like even parts of New Jersey, it felt more established. You know?
Well, yeah, they've had people there since like
Yeah.
1680.
Oh, if you're looking for random obscure retro technology, Techno Man is a good channel to check out. I'm actually subscribed to a young man who is a furry who's all into 1950s technology, and his channel's growing. He had less subscribers than me, and now he has more.
Yeah, do we? Oh, I don't know. Never mind.
I everything that you're thinking, I agree with you.
Okay, so we should not have litter boxes in schools. We'll just
Everything,
start and end that there.
everything. As a guy who
Thanks.
has an eagle head, who like I don't have a nest in my house, you know, it's a satire. It's fun.
Right.
Yay, we love saving money. We absolutely love saving money here, Liz. Absolutely. Do you know when I call you Elizabeth, it's way too formal. But then I don't like it when people call me Will, and I prefer to be called William, but everyone calls me Will anyways.
All right. Well, I will remember. And actually, that's how I refer to you anyway. When I talk to my human or my friend, I'm like, "Oh, I streamed with Godless or William."
Very terrifying. He just looks perplexed at the same time. I did.
Yeah. Sometimes I wear my expressions on my face.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Like there are certain things if you say to me like my eyes, like because my eyes are generally down here, but I'll like my eyes will get real wide. Like, what'd you say? Let me put my
I'm
listening ears on. Like,
I'm good at when I'm at the office. Like there's very few things where I'm like, whoa. But then people are like, if I do that at my day job, then they're like, oh fuck, this is really bad.
Regular car reviews is a fun channel too. Magazine style car reviews videos, but on random regular cars. Wow, that sounds awesome. He reviewed a real postal van, a school bus. Okay, that's something that. Oh, that's awesome. That's something I'd watch.
Oh,
I watch car auctions. I have a channel, and I know it's for millionaires because you can call in and like bid on the cars. It's live. But I watch people sell like old retro cars for hundreds of thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm obsessed with watching car auctions, and it's actually kind of quiet.
well, that's just like there's a station. Are they out of Vegas that does live fabric auctions? And I'm like, no, you are not allowed to watch this because you do not need anything right now.
Oh, my credit card. So the credit card sides jump in. My other side is like, cut the card, cut the card.
And
I can't
delete
watch.
it off of your phone and your computer and anywhere you spend money online.
Well, I have it in my phone, not on my computer, because I live on my phone. You know, like I have everything saved into my computer, but when I go to purchasing anything on my computer, it asks me like, "Hey, do you really want to do this?" My phone is like, "Let's party, let's make bad decisions, let's go." It's 3:30. You need that patch.
No, no, you don't.
I forgot he reviewed a legit New York City taxi cab too. That's like there are certain things going out of style. Like I want a real rickshaw from India. I want a black cab from London, but those are like few
Oh,
and far
can I get a
between anymore.
Lauda? Who's gonna hook me up with a Lauda?
You'd be so surprised. Somebody in my neighborhood has a Healy tank. It is a World War II British tank. And you know what the funny thing is? My truck is bigger than it. So somebody on the other side in the other neighborhood with the really big houses has a VW thing. It's an awesome car. All the parts, like the car looks like it can come apart. One of my neighbors, someone in this neighborhood, no one around here is this rich, so I laugh every time I see the car. Someone in my neighborhood bought a Ferrari, a real one, and drives it around this neighborhood, and you can hear it. It sounds like a jet when he's driving it around, and no one around here is that rich
I think
except
I
for
prefer a
him.
Jaguar.
I've subscribed almost to every channel that you guys have told me to so far.
I probably don't really want a Lauda, but it just makes me laugh because they're such cute little boxes of a car.
That's one thing. Because I had a VW Bug, I do want a little car again. My friend has a Model T in my town. If you lived in my town, they would invite you to every parade because they have like an army of Model Ts and in all the. We still have small town parades here.
Right, and you don't have you don't have salt that ruins cars.
True.
So cars last on the West Coast, they don't last on the East Coast.
Alibaba, it's a sight to see. Next time I see him, I'll take a picture because he has all the insignias painted on it and everything. He takes it to the grocery store.
And this is my $100 of gas money for the week because I get 3 miles to the gallon.
The yuppies are crazy around here. They love to show off their money. I'm like, I'd rather drive a pickup truck to the house that I live in and don't have to pay bills on, you know? Like
Right?
I'm cool with having a crummy car and bills paid. That's my philosophy. Mr. Carlson's lab, if you're weird like me and you like watching a guy restore old tube electronics, yes! Where's my phone? Yes, Kilroy, yes. I need new stuff to watch. Mr. Carlson's lab. YouTube's funny if you don't spell it. Mr. Carlson's. Yes. Ooh, 1940s radio receivers, capacitors, and resistors. I'm there. I am there. And yes, it's an open top tank. It rarely rains in Southern California except for this year. It never
We're only
rains
in
here.
half a drought.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm saying that jokingly, but like, let's be real. It never rains here. That's why people were freaking out. We were like, what's this wet stuff from the sky and why is it not going away? I owned a 1983 VW Rabbit, okay? I showed up in Oregon with that car. Do you know how long I lasted with it? And it was a rag top car.
2 weeks. 2 weeks
I
in
did,
Portland.
I lasted as long until someone was like, "Hey, you want to sell that?" I was like, "How much money you got?" Take it. You could have it. Here's the pink slip. Goodbye. So that's my one claim to fame. My 1980s. I left my VW in Oregon, and someone is in their garage somewhere. I've driven them often. I could have got one for $500. Wow. Wow. Things are way expensive because we have the movie industry here, which brings me to my hobby, my funny Hobby Lobby thing, which I told last week about when I was at Hobby Lobby. And I know I scare people sometimes when I'm wearing my patches and stuff, but this woman was really curious of why I was getting like $80 worth of fabric. Like, she was so curious. And I showed her my phone, and she looks at me and she's like, "Do you work in the movie industry?" And I took that as a compliment, even though everyone's a yuppie here. I totally took that as a compliment. Because she was basically saying, like, "I like your work." Should I take that as a compliment, or was I just being dense?
No, I think that's a compliment. Or she thought you were a weirdo and didn't know what else to say that was like quasi like a backhanded compliment.
All applies. Because I'm outgoing, and people are not out more. Like people are not outgoing at all anymore. So I know I scare people because I'm not shy to talk to people. But I choose spearmint gum and Mentos, so I'm kind to people. So when I and I'm not a close talker either, but if you get close to me, I smell like cocoa butter and mint.
Oh, I'm out of sewing projects because I just put Brunhilde to bed.
If you want
It's too
to
bad
put
that
this to bed,
lights
we can.
doesn't show.
If you want to put this one to bed, we can.
Oh no, I know I'm all good for chatting. I just don't know what I'm sewing, so I'm just sad that the old-fashioned like 1950s embroidery is washed out on this cover. Like, it looks really cute, but you can't see it right now.
Oh, I need people like that in my life, Kilroy. Thank you. Because I talked about this with my friend Marquette, and he was like, "You need to start going to Vegas again. You're getting weird."
I
He's
can
like,
get
"You
a
need."
direct flight to Vegas,
I like to
and I
drive.
can get a
I like
direct flight
eating.
anywhere.
There's this Greek place that's in Baker, California, and they sell really world famous gyros. And I
Oh,
always stop there, and their gyros are so big I have to hold them with two hands.
I miss souvlaki.
Oh, now I'm hungry for a place that's like 150 miles away from my house.
I know. Here's the one I'm thinking of is like 3,000 miles away on the lake.
Phoenix commented on a video of mine, and I went through her channel, and she didn't seem like a serial killer. So I was like, "Hey, come and hang out. You seem like an awesome person."
I know, and it's been 2 months, and people keep showing up and haven't told me that I'm a horrible asshole. So I keep showing up.
No, you're a real person. Like,
I
like
am.
and quite honestly, like this is how it should be. Like I could be friends with anybody as long as you're not mean to other people and animals.
Right? And you've seen my cats. I can't be mean to these fur balls.
But like I met Phoenix online, and it's the and you know what? What do you call it? You apply the collegiate, I can't say it. You apply the proper term to it. What's it called? Parasocial relationships. What's it called?
Oh, yes, that is the appropriate term because we've never met in real life, but we enjoy chit-chatting, and people seem to like us for like 8 hours a week.
Exactly.
Keep
I hang out
showing
with
up.
I hang out with everyone here more than I hang out with family members that I live within walking distance of their house.
Yeah, we talk about sewing machines and random pop culture, social political bullshit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what though? And that's the beautiful, that's the positive side of the internet than rather than leaving evil chats to people that you used to stream with 2 or 3 years ago when they popped up on a stream that you were on the day before. That's when parasocial relationships go bad.
I know. I
I
dropped
miss,
into Ape's channel Ape's live stream this morning, and I said some stuff. I was like, "Oh, this lady he's got with her, it doesn't like me." I was like niggling at her.
she's the one that started the lie of why I got canceled. That's why
Oh,
I said the comment that I said in there, and I
oh, I
left.
missed that one because I missed the first hour, and then I popped in, and I was like, "You can't have both of these things. Do not line up."
Oh no. She's in cuckoo cloud land idealist. Like that's another reason because I'm a
Yeah,
doer. Because I'm a doer, I can't hang around. Like I'm an idealist, but I put it on paper. And I hate to say this, I stole this from Karl Lagerfeld, but I put it on paper and then I do it. I watched this
right.
whole thing with Karl Lagerfeld was like, look, I write it down and then I do it. And I'm like, I'm just like you.
Oh,
I want to be rich like you.
seriously, and yeah, it was so. It was
I
just
miss Vegas. I
funny.
do, Liz. Liz, I miss Vegas so much. I need to go.
I
I haven't gone since COVID, but I'm not a compulsive gambler anymore, so I'm ready to go. You know what it was? It's water nye, water
yeah,
nay,
nay.
water nay. Um, I rub people the wrong way sometimes because I'm African American and I was raised in the suburbs. I am not necessarily a stereotype, and I clash with people who live off of stereotypes. And I found on the internet, I'll walk into a room and instantly offend people, even without even saying a word, or even without even and there's certain crowds, and quite honestly, it's more of a younger crowd. But like some people just get instantly turned off by me, and I stand up for myself. I think that's part of my problem.
Right, because everybody's like, "Oh, woe is me," and it's like, no, you can grow some cojones and just do it.
But it's also generational as well because I was always told to speak up for yourself. Like, because if you don't, the world's gonna walk over you. You know, like sometimes
Yeah,
you have to say, "Oh no, excuse me," like I'm still here. Like, no, you didn't help me. You have to, being meek is a good thing, but you can't in today's world. You have to stand up for yourself.
yeah. I know how to count change.
You know what? And it's not even Abe. Like he has an open channel, and like just that attracts trolls and racists and all kinds of people. Like you need to go out and just hit up the shows. I know. I get that. I'm one of the whiter half black people out there. I get that a lot, and I think it throws people off. And there are there's just certain circles. I've just learned over the years. It throws people off, and then it exposes people too when you have a preconceived notion, like even if it's not about race, you expose yourself when someone shows up and you're like, oh, you're a biker or you're a Hasidic Jew, and you instantly have these images of people and they're probably nothing like what you think they are. Having grown up around people who are Hasidic Jewish people, they party just like everybody else. They have fun. They
Absolutely.
have
Certain
rules.
holiday Purim is more exciting than some others. Oh, sorry for the
Exactly.
camera angle changes. My human is trying to make me look prettier than normal.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing. Like, I can't help who raised me either. Like, I grew up in the suburbs, and as a courtesy to other people, I reflect where I'm from. And so I just try to, because if I talked in another way, it would be so fake. You would be able to spot it. You would be like, Godless Sewing is like a $3 bill.
Right. Just be your authentic self. And if people love you, that's great. And if they don't, that's also great. Then they'll hopefully leave quietly and not make a fuss.
And I think, and I've also learned on the internet, like, and keep in mind, like like I came in the community saying like, hey, I sew. Like I'm about sewing, I'm about artwork, like, and it rubs people the wrong way when you're living their dream, you know? Like some people want to be artists, some people want to sew, but they just don't have the they don't have the umph to do it. Trust me, there's some days where I'm like, I don't feel like making a coat, but I do, or I don't feel like sewing, or I'll make a hat, you know. Love the cat camera work. And that's another thing. Like I want my channel to not be a detriment and to actually be a place where people can come and be like, hey, like no matter what side I'm on, there are certain sides where you are not welcome here, and you probably aren't watching this.
No, but I love it because Allie and Mark and Kilroy, all the sewing machine stuff that I've learned, and people who are smart and talented, I'm just like, I learn as much as I hope to share every once in a blue moon. And it sounds like the Kings just scored again.
We're finally going to get a win. We're finally going to get a win. The playoffs are coming, and it's scary when you lose every game before the playoffs start. So we're going to finally get a win. And also, sewing is universal. Like,
right?
There's people from all backgrounds, from all ethnicities. Like, anytime, I've said this week after week, like, there's people from Russia who are subscribed to me. I instantly subscribe right back. There's people from India, lots of people from India. I've learned more about a Juki sewing machine from people speaking Farsi than I will ever know, because they're showing what they're doing,
And the way they do their patterning, there's no paper patterns. They just like measure and mark with their chalk, and I'm like, and cut it up, and I'm like, why don't I get some grow my chest? I don't need to grow my chesticles anymore, but just like do it. Don't be scared. I have enough
Absolutely.
fabric. What do I have to lose? Oh no, I have to wear it to bed and not out in public.
It's funny you'd say that. I have 3 pairs of Oops pants. Oh, that's the end of the game. Is this the last? Oh, yeah, is this the last home game? It might be, because they're really giving the crowd their kudos. I'm very, very much like that, though. And you know what? I have learned so much from people. Like, there is on Instagram, there is a man named Bibby Professor who got me back into sewing Sansisco patches and slow stitching in general. I turned a pair of overalls into artwork, and I would have never done that if I hadn't met this man on Instagram and just saw his passion for hobo stitch, which is like just old school like patchwork,
Mm-hmm.
I love. Do you remember Wimpy from Popeye?
Yes.
If you gladly give me a hamburger today, I'll pay you next Tuesday. Yes. I love that like hobo sad jacket, like pork pie hat look. I love that look. I absolutely love that look. I think it's because I watched a lot of like old school
right, the Little Rascals and Popeye was like my very young ages.
I have a hand pattern drafting. I marvel at myself. That's like the first time I made a jacket from scratch. I wore that thing around. Anyone would be like, nice jacket. I'm like, I made this from scratch. Like, I was so overly proud of myself. All right, last channel recommendation from my 950 plus channel stash. Lost in the Pond. This is a British guy who moved to Chicago and makes I'm running to my phone.
Yep, that one's come up on my feed. Actually, that's how somehow YouTube like fed me his channel, and I was like, who is this human? And I watched some of the pre-records, and I was like, oh, I kind of enjoy watching you. And then you had a live stream, and I was like, and then we just fell down the rabbit hole.
I need new channels because I feel like I rabbit hole myself sometimes, and I just end up watching the same stuff, and then I end up watching like sad sitcoms from the 80s. Thank you. I've kind of fallen into making overalls. It's another thing I love to do. I love making overalls. I might make a pair because I'm because YouTube is attacking my channel so much. I've been a little reluctant to make a video, but I've been sewing so much I need to. Or I'm gonna be like, oh, look at these 15 outfits I made in 2 weeks because I'm crazy. I sew so much.
Well, that's when you need to do like the closet historian, and her lookbooks are amazing. And
I
I've
think that's
learned so
another
much
thing.
for pattern
Sorry, please keep
drafting.
going.
Go ahead.
No, please keep going. I need to expand more too and watch people like that. Like
Yeah, she's great. I took my what is it? I used the Mood Dogwood top and then altered that for the like 1940s, 50s all in one sleeve with her directions. Because pattern drafting and block making, like, I'm too cheap to buy one of like the Vogue or whatever, the big four block patterns with all the alterations. So I was like, oh, this sort of fits. How can I use her skill, her knowledge? I love watching her stuff.
when I lived in Europe for a little bit, they had a restaurant chain called Wimpy Burger. Oh, I need that T-shirt. I'm gonna have to look that up tonight. I kind of make small things up as I go, but anything big, I need some patternry help. I am the same way. I need to find my vest pattern. You will laugh at how huge that thing is. She has excellent drafting and alteration tutorials. I need to start watching. I need to start making more tutorials. But like my channel's grown because when my channel was smaller, it was only like 10 people watching my stuff and no one cared. They were just being
Well,
kind and
it's
watching my stuff.
everybody complains. Nobody. It seems like the tutorials don't get views, but the people who really want to learn love the tutorials.
But I will say this, and this is if you want to have your channel blow up, every time I've ever done a mini sewing machine video, I get at least like 2K to 4K views.
I do. Abby Cox and Nicole Rudolph are. I do enjoy watching their things. Their rant about corsets and the Netflix thing was pretty funny. Also, Morgan Donner, not such a great sewist, but Rachel Maxey, but she's more like cosplay cosplay. And then what is it? The costuming drama is pretty good, and she annoys me a little bit, but what's her name? No, I'm gonna forget because she mostly does like huge 1800s ball gowns and tries to dress up like her Felicity doll. That
Okay,
I
so
forgot.
I have a quick rant for
Okay,
sewists. I know she's not watching my channel. I absolutely love this one sewist, but like she's started making doll clothes, and I feel like if she lived in America, we would put her behind padded walls. And like every time she does a doll video, no one watches her videos. So I feel so bad because she's like a big YouTuber. Like she's one of the so
mm-hmm.
frugal people. And like and she's like loosely related. She's like
Uh-huh.
and I watch her channel because she ice skates. You know, we have things in common. But like she even said, she's like, I know I've become a crazy lady lately, but thank you for muscling through my Barbie videos. But and she doesn't even have girls. She has like 3 boys.
Oh, so she's like really, she wishes she had a girl to dress up as a Barbie doll, and she can't.
And and she's our age.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. I know Nicole Rudolph does do shoes also, which is super impressive. And I have to agree with Allie. I don't sew for other people. I heard there was this new challenge. It was like selfless sew April, and I'm like, nope, I don't sew for other humans but me.
Rachel Maxey gets my blood pressure up with the stupid cutesy shit.
I know not all of her stuff is good.
To YouTube. Let's see. I might already be subscribed to her because back in the day, I used to get a lot of sewing recommendations, and I would just do what I'm doing now. Rachel Maskey, Matsky.
Maksey.
Maksy.
Sey, I think.
I
She's
think this
way
might be
young.
her.
She's like in her late 20s. I don't even think she's 30. She does a lot of cosplay and like foam stuff and
I
a lot
did
of
that, and she got.
cosplay.
I redid my chair. She redid her chair, and she got 449,000 views.
Well,
I
she
got
also
like
has a
400.
million subscribers, so
I
there's
know.
a differential. We're up against.
Then my little cricket channel over here. Chirp chirp. That's
But the foam
awesome.
molding that she did on her chair, it was pretty. She did do a cute job on that chair.
Subscribe.
I just don't know how these like young people can afford these like expensive houses.
Nepotism.
Something
I'm
or
I'm
yeah.
yeah. One of the only reasons I like, come on, like Nepo, like Jamie Lee Curtis said, she's there because of her father. Like I laughed so hard when she said that. I'm here because of my father. Nepotism. I wouldn't be able to be in this neighborhood if it wasn't for my father.
Fair. I know. What is it
You
with people wanting to dress up like they're American Girl dolls? It's weird. I may or may not own a couple, but I don't want to make costumes to like look like my doll. It's like the reborn babies. Like, no, that is creepy. Heck no.
and that's I have found a few weird channels. Like I don't want to say her name. My friend who started her Barbie thing. It's just weird to me. Maybe it's because I'm a man and that's just not my thing. Like,
Kilroy,
oh,
you.
I saw that house she moved into, and I'm like, okay, what crossroads did you sell your soul?
Let's go back up to Kilroy's previous statement so I can like gloat for a minute. Yes, please come
Absolutely.
subscribe to my channel. I mostly live stream and have a whole bunch of old hula hoop content, and I will be doing more hooping stuff because people want tutorials and I hate pre-recording, but I promise people I will do it. So eventually it will be there.
I need
And I
to
will look at the things that I make. So part of my test is A, I have to make it, B, can I actually hula hoop in it? So they have to pass through like certain tests that not everybody needs to put their clothes through. So thank you, Kilroy.
yay for the Phoenix Electric channel. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. I
YouTube
am
and Rumble.
I am so weirdly proud of this thing. This was an easy fix. This one was an easy fix today. The table that I bought last time when I fixed it, it was awful. But this one was an easy fix today.
I know on Sunday I want to see this new table because you actually have to drag it out of your truck because I'm calling you out on it.
Yay, Liz made it home. I love Jamie Lee Curtis too. She sold the house she inherited from her grandmother, I believe. Yes, hooping. I'm man, if I when I see a hoop, I'm gonna buy one. I don't care what color it is. If it has pink with those weird little ball things in it, I don't care.
Oh, don't get the crappy. No, those do not get a dollar store hoop. When you bring me my white, I will trade you a hula hoop. I'll trade you a hula
Deal.
hoop for a sewing machine. That's not
Deal.
an equal value. But
Deal. I'll give you Manhattan. You can have Manhattan. Deal.
yes, I just won the lottery.
Also, houses in the country. Yes. I think about that all the time. I want to move out of LA County and go buy a property and put a moat up. A giant moat.
Yeah, come up
What's
to
that new
Siskiyou
lake?
County. Come up to Happy Camp. Or what's the other one that just
They
burned?
have water. Do you guys have hardcore water restrictions?
Up where no, I don't have any water
Hey.
restrictions in the land of Oregon. Not
We
yet, at
have
least.
mega. I did Mean Dolls restoring and making small clothes for them and the small. Okay, so that's different.
That is
That's
true. Yeah,
different.
miniatures are hot, but dressing up like your doll, creepo.
Okay, so in my grandmother's house, when I've told the story a million times, I My family fought the entire time over over my grandmother's house that they didn't want anything inside of it. But she had these Barbies that she crocheted dresses on.
That's cute.
And I didn't know what to do with them, so they're like in protective glass in my closet in my middle bedroom. Like I don't know what to do with them, you know. But they're super like Tiffany. Like they remind me of what's that actress? Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, Audrey Hepburn.
Yes, they remind me of Audrey Hepburn because even their hair has that flip.
Yes. Oh, she's got the old Barbies to with the clothes. Those might be fancy, high value Barbies. You might
That's why
have
I've
Barbies worth money.
that's why I've kept them like in like if I don't know what something is, I protect it just in case it's diamond in the rough, you know.
Yeah, good plan.
Absolutely, I have a few bridges too. I have quite a few bridges. Things I've learned so far on Godless Whole Stories: smoking blackjacks and hookers show. Yes, the dollar store scissors. No to store buy hoops. That is literally that. Yes, yes.
It is true. Get a Polypro hoop or my old hoop. The place I used to buy hoop tubing from turned out to be a farce hole. And they went out of business. I don't have any recommendations, but I did learn from my friend who went to circus school in Montreal that some of the best hoop tape is hockey tape. I have 4 hoops that are taped in hockey tape. It works. Or gaffer's tape if you need some grip until you get told that you have to take it off because your hoops don't match. But that's a me problem. So there is my green scrubby as I'm. See, the hoop tape, the gaffer's tape does not show up if you're far away. They look pink. But up close, I see the white powdery residue. Let's see here. Let's catch up on the chat real quick here. Allie, they are the expensive collector ones, I think, too. I think so, too. Liz, my auntie used to crochet outfits for my Barbies. It's probably pretty valuable. If it's not valuable to others, that somebody took the time to crochet cute outfits is super adorable. Yes, Waternay, speaking of circus people, I enjoy Shannon makes. I do also. She inspired me to make the corset hoodie, which I did not wear today, and my friend Ty actually knows of her or has met her because he also does sear wheel and not sear wheel is odd enough circus skill as it is, and a duo sear wheel act is super unusual. And let's see, we're down to the bottom. Kilroy, I'll probably never use a hula hoop. If I do, boom, now I know. Yes. It's fun. It's my cardio and fun playtime because I was telling people to exercise. And if you can on-body waist hoop for 30 minutes, that is a legit workout. Do the hand hoops like Phoenix suggested. Yes, I could. Should we do a hoop trick to end off the show?
I do 50 push-ups a day and I'm extremely unhealthy. It keeps me healthy.
Okay. Which isolation did we do the last time? But let's start. You hand 12 o'clock. Come down. Oh, we did this one last time. Come down to 6 o'clock. Right hand 6 o'clock. Bring it up to 12 o'clock. And you look pretty. And then when you're fancy, you can do it behind your back.
Awesome.
And I scared my cats off and wound myself up in my ear pods. The hoop of the day. The hoop trick of the day. Yes, sear wheel is crazy. I get really dizzy easily, and it's such a size specific. I'm too short for all the sear wheels at my studio. Because I'm a tiny human.
I'm mid height. I've been shamed for saying that I'm
I
short.
will continue. You are above average height.
Well, I'm like
5'6". 5'8", 5'9". So I guess you're only average for
Yeah.
an XY
Yeah.
human.
I am like the official average height around the world, which is it sounds like a good thing, but one of the reasons I started making my own clothes is because I'm odd-bodied. My torso is weirdly long, and so even though I'm average height and they make clothes for people my size, they don't make it for people with my body shape, if that makes sense.
Oh, I do get it because I have that. I'm short, and B, I have a rib cage, a 1-inch hip, and then or a 1-inch waist measurement, and then I have hips. Like that hourglass, that is my shape. Literally.
Yeah.
And ginormous chesticles. You're welcome, Liz.
Well, my torso is extremely long. I am all spare parts. My dad used to tell me that I'm the leftover of all my ancestors. I have I have a freakishly large reach. I have the reach of somebody who's 6'2". I'm 5'9". My arms are I can't scratch my kneecaps, but I'm almost there. My arms are so long.
Nope.
The average person can't. I saw you trying. The average person like
I did.
but
I'm like, no, they're just
my
mid
torso,
femur.
it literally it goes from here to here. It's freakishly long. I have to wear so I have to wear long shirts
Yes. So you need the
because when
big
I
and
raise
tall
my
shirts,
arm,
but the shorty pants.
yeah, exactly. It's funny. So because when I raise my arms, my shirt rides up. So I wear a long shirt, and plus nobody likes plumber's crack. Nobody
No,
wants to
crack
see
is bad,
that. No.
kids. Crack kills.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said this before, Duluth makes awesome shirts. And now that they're not as popular anymore, their shirts are actually affordable. Because before they wanted unreal prices for their shirts. But now their shirts are like in thrift stores. I get excited when I see a Duluth shirt because they make a regular size shirt and then they put a little tail on the back. Just a little tail.
I think they make do the same for ladies so that you can get some coverage. Or this cute little shirt from Buffalo that has the buffalo on it.
That's another reason, besides missing the 90s, like a friend who moved away.
Right, let's be honest.
But that's why I like wearing jerseys, because jerseys are long. Like, I have a ton.
Yeah, because basketball players are giants.
Well, I have football jerseys, baseball jerseys, because they're made to, especially baseball jerseys, they're made to tuck in. So they come with the tail and they come with the front, and they're long, long. And people are thinking I'm trying to make a statement or I'm a gangster. It's like, no, I just like the way they lay on my, it's not, it's
right. They
just
just
not.
fit and cover all my bits and bobs.
I think it's because I was raised Roman Catholic. I am big on hide your shame. Like it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. I am, and I am not a repressed person at all. I'm not. I'm like, I'll go to the beach, but I would not walk around on the streets with my shirt off. You know what I'm saying? Like I would go to the beach, take my shirt off, jump in the ocean, but I'm not gonna like walk around the boardwalk like, hey, I'm a tough guy. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a prude.
That might be an option also. I know, Kara, you are a giant. That's why I wear all baggy stuff. I'm so tall. If a shirt fits close, I literally have to not move in it or it'll ride up and not fit anymore. Yeah, you are. If you're over 6 feet, I am like, we're on the completely opposite ends of the height spectrum.
I have a weird test. Isaiah hates it because, and you know what? I do too. You grow attached to shirts. But when you're a certain age, you outgrow those shirts.
Up till a point, yeah.
And so I have a rule where if you lift up your shirt and you show your belly, then it's too small, or it shows any of your and he always says that. Yeah. He always tells me, he's like, that's not a thing. And I'm like, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Well, fortunately, I've been the same height since I was 7 or 6. It's been a long time. I was like the tallest kid in first grade. and then I
Um,
wasn't.
13. In junior high, they were like, you should be on the basketball team, the football team. You're going to be a giant. And I'm like, wait till my ancestry kicks in. I think I'm
Right,
pretty much
and we're
stuck.
done.
I have a good friend who actually kept growing. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He played at the other Arizona university. Um, he remembers when we were in junior high, we would find each other because we would stand in the hallway and we were the two tallest people in 8th grade. And I have not grown an inch since then.
I know. I look up and I've had people like literally walk right past me and not see me because they were in a different atmosphere than I was.
I feel like it's so different. Like, I think that's so rude because not even from a height standpoint, it bothers me because people live in their own little worlds nowadays. Like, they're on their phone, or like even today. Okay, I was at the grocery store, and I'm gonna go off for a second. It won't take too long. There was a lot of people wearing headphones and not hearing my excuse me's as I'd walk past them, or I have a cart filled with food, bro. Like, I'm not just gonna stand in front of you. I'm walking past you, bro. Like,
Right?
I don't know. It just seems like common courtesy has disappeared in this world.
It has.
And and I said this on your show yesterday. I say, may I? I'm overly polite, especially when it comes to ordering my food because you're hooking me up.
Right, because I don't want you to spit or do anything nasty if I'm ordering food.
Exactly. And here I had growing pains into my late teens. It sucked. The later ones hurt so much. I couldn't imagine. I remember growing pains.
I miss that, but you're so tall. I just want to like measure everybody's palm and finger length to see if you've got Marfan's. Like if you're over a certain height, I'm like, are do you have a genetic condition? But that's my weird, creepy brain kicking in,
You know
or
what?
Marfan's trait.
I think about that all the time. Um, I it's Water Nye, right? You're gonna get annoyed. You have to
Nick,
come in and talk to us now because you're gonna get annoyed at the fact that I can't
it's
pronounce your name.
water. It's spelled NAI, but she said water nay.
Okay, Water
They
Nye.
said water nay. I'm gonna use. If I don't know, I'm just gonna use the generic they because
I
English
try to be
needs to bring that
polite.
back.
Like, and because I speak other languages, I get told all the time, they're like, you're so polite. But I think that's how we should be. Like, and I worked service jobs where people literally spit on me because I worked. No, I'm not trolling you. No, not at all. No, I really cannot speak English. No, not at all. You are
No, we're
so welcome here. Like,
absolutely
I
yes. This you're
no,
a
no,
new
not at all.
addition to the community of degenerates. Please,
Yes.
if you don't, we like you. Please like us back.
You are totally welcome here. No, not at all. I've had 2 head injuries, and my West Coast English, I have the surfer twain. Like, I legitimately cannot, like, I struggle. Some people can be so egocentric. I've been walking on a cane at a store, and that bothers me. That bothers me so much because I grew up around people with disabilities. It destroys me when people are rude to people on a cane. Like, these are the protected classes for a reason. My mom took French in school. Oh,
But I know it's so hard typing. It's like Twitter. Nuance and sarcasm are lost with typing. So you seem
oh.
super human and fun.
There's a couple times where my ex-wife will text me and she's like, "Sorry, your context was a little too hardcore. What's going on?" And I'm like, "It's just a text. Like, I'm sorry. It's my eyebrows. It's my
I
eyebrows that give. I have resting bee face, and it's my eyebrows that make me look angry, and I'm really not angry at all."
yeah, I just have resting clown face. I just look funny all the time.
Liz is screaming because Liz is our professor of literature here. She is
She
screaming right now.
right, and she remembers all these things. Like Liz will call us out, and we're gonna get nasty tweets tomorrow. Of like, you did that wrong. Not really.
When I came
but
back to
maybe.
Canada, I had a bit of a different accent from Europe. I really stood out. Do you know when I lived in Oregon, I lived in a world of people who didn't speak much English, so I spoke Spanish every day, everywhere. It was my language. And when I came back to California, people were like, "You have changed. You have changed. You don't even realize it." So I get it. I get it. I hate people who refuse to control their kids at the grocery store. Oh,
Yes, that's
a
why the
pet
backpacks,
peeve.
the leashes on backpacks are there's a time and a place for them, and sometimes your kid needs a leash.
I have I have trouble saying it. I say chust.
Choost.
Absolutely. What languages do you speak? How do you know? Um, I speak Spanish and I weirdly speak Gula, which is a lost slave language, only because my father was born in 1939 and his grandmother lived to be in her 90s and she was a born slave. And she was an amazing human being. He had malaria and she literally wrapped him in giant leaves and mustard seed from what he said and cured him from malaria. So, and I learned Spanish from my mom's side, but really I learned Spanish from immersion. I moved to Mexico, immersion is real. You will pick it up, no matter and I certain people may or may not, but like if you put me in France, I'll speak French a month from now, like I'm speaking English right now. Immersion helps, and I worked a lot of jobs with people that spoke Spanish, and over the years, having a second language, you get paid more. Here in Southern California, if you're bilingual, they literally pay you more.
Liz is trolling on you next.
I was waiting for you to figure out how to say what. Yeah, I learned more in my 6 weeks in Spain than I did the whole. Exactly.
It's true, but then school Spanish, you have to go to Spain because I've lived in places where folks spoke Spanish who were from Puerto Rico, and now that I live in a place where it's Mexican Spanish, I say words and they're like, "Oh, that's not the word we use," and I'm like, "Sorry, this is what I learned that I can recall."
Well, Castilian, like Spanish people, excuse me, Spaniards speak Castilian. That is a whole
Yes.
different language. Argentinians do as well. Some
Yep.
Argentinians speak Castilian as well. It's more shays and chays.
Right,
Like
or like Paquito versus Pequeña, like certain words are not
yes,
even the same. And I like tried to be polite and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize they were correcting me. I'm like, sorry, I learned school Spanish.
exactly. You know what though? I thought I spoke Spanish, and then I went to Mexico, and I was like, I speak Spanglish. And my cousin was like, "Oh, you're about to get a crash course, bro." I'll never forget. He's like, "You better pick it up, or you're gonna starve here." Because I actually went into Sinaloa. It's different than the tourist places. Like they will
Right. They're
not speak
like,
to you.
you talk like a gringo, but you don't look like a gringo.
I got that too. They would always tell me they're like, "No offense, but you sound like a white person trying to speak Spanish." They would say it to me all the time, or and I would consider this insulting. I would speak to someone in Spanish and they'd look at me and they'd be like, I speak English.
Oh,
How do you
wow,
know? How do you
that's
know
a
that?
worse burn.
And this is deep in Mexico where they're like, oh, your Spanish is terrible. It's insulting. Do you know
Right,
Alibaba?
just please talk English.
That's really fascinating. That's really fascinating. Some jobs in Canada, you don't get the job unless you're bilingual, English, French. That's wow.
Is that mostly in Quebec though? Because I thought the rest of Canada is not so French heavy, but I might be wrong.
There was one time I almost took a Disneyland job, but their union's terrible because they were handing out unreal money to anyone who'd give a tour in Spanish. I was like, I'll do it, but then I started looking into how they treat their employees, and It's almost on Walmart status of how they treat
Yeah.
their employees. I was in Mexico on vacation during Hurricane Gilbert, the big one that they used to compare to the other hurricanes. It was only my leftover Spanish that got us back out. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And
I know. Mostly, I
honestly,
just remember "Donde está el baño" and "Una cerveza, por favor."
and I say this with love as someone who's actually lived there and actually like being half black and half Mexican is a strange thing, but Mexico is extremely not safe right now. Like you can cross right over and it's kind of like going to an unsafe neighborhood. You go there and you're like, "Hey, this is like everywhere else," until it's not. You know what I'm saying? Until the danger potential is still there cuz I have family members that live in like really hardcore places of LA and they look like my neighborhood. Same houses, same everything, but it's one of the most dangerous places on earth, you know? It's sad. I have a soft spot for Mexico. It's sad. Mostly government federal jobs. They're like that too here now. If you're not bilingual, you're like back of the line. That is crazy. I couldn't imagine being trapped in a foreign, just any other country during a natural disaster.
No, oh, Killer, you're cracking me up.
I'd go.
I'd do the Marines before I'd work for Disneyland. Screw being among that many people. I know, and you have to be like happy all the time. No, I'm not that chipper.
I thought about it. No, because I have a chipper personality. I made a lot of money being a waiter because I'm like, "Hi, how's it going? What do you need?" Like I made a lot of money being a waiter, but like you said, like I couldn't take that. I don't think if I could take that. And I would only be able to give tours of people who spoke Mexican Spanish,
Right.
because I don't speak Castilian. I don't like there are certain like in Brazil, man, they speak Portuguese.
Absolutely. Or right,
Lost.
Argentina, Venezuela. It's Colombia. It's not the same Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. I only took a semester of Spanish, 8 years German, so I know. Yeah, you're German spot on though. You still speak German though. That's the difference. Like most people don't. That's the
Sprachen Sie
difference.
Deutsch ein Bier bitte?
God, I was sewing on. So I don't think I could take what's his face screaming at me though.
Gordon Ramsay.
He would be shaking. Or like if he came to my house, he would be like, "That's too much salt. Do you have diabetes? Why are you putting that much sugar in your coffee?" Like he would lose it on me. He would need heart
coffee
pills.
does not have sugar in it anyway, but that's a whole other discussion.
I'm going to tell you, it's because I was raised by a man who was in the Navy for over 20 years. Someone told him that asthmatics should drink coffee. So from 6 years old on, he let me drink coffee. And so I've been drinking the poor man's latte my whole life. My whole life.
I like the
Sugar
poor man's
is-
mocha with like Nestle quick powder and coffee. Or what's the other packet?
That hits. That hits hard. I drink that too. I'll drink that too. But I'm not a snob. Like I'll drink it black. But I've been drinking coffee the same since I was a child. They laugh at like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I used to have a way of how I described my coffee, but it doesn't go off on a low note when I say it like it's strong and black. Like
True.
People take it the wrong
Fighting
way.
words about coffee for some. True. Coffee is personal. Coffee is.
That was like the day we discussed making your bed or not making your bed in the morning.
I am one of because I get up, go to work, and then come back home and fall asleep. Like making my bed is relative because sometimes I'll make it and then just come back and lay on top of the sheets that I've made.
Well, no, that makes sense because if you've already went out with your day clothes, you don't want to get your bed clothes dirty with your day clothes
So
outfit.
true.
We missed a comment from Ayali. Let's see here. Well, Canadian isn't the same as Leeds or Glasgow or the Shetlands. No, but some of those islands, PEI and that like far east coast of Canada, they talk weird. Thank you, Alice. I try. All I know how to is, can I have another beer? And I don't think I know how to use the bathroom. The important words. Can I have a beer? And where's the bathroom? If you know that in most languages, you're set.
Oh, I like that. I'm stealing that, Kara. I take mine blacker than the submarine paint.
Okay, this might be my new descriptor because my last one doesn't always go over well depending on the audience.
Do you know what? You know what's really funny? That's so true because I when I lived in Beaverton, Oregon, I lived in this beautiful house. And one of the roommates was a truck driver who was gone all the time. And he was an ex-submariner. It is so weird. They had a picture of all the entire crew sitting in front of the submarine. They looked like ants around a big black circle. And the submarine was painted black. And the only reason I know that is because he had this giant picture and the bathroom was connected to his room. And I'd always look at that picture like, how do submarines not hit each other in the ocean? I know the ocean's huge, but like, how do they not like slam into each other? I know they're not out there with cameras or anything.
Isn't that what sonar's for?
I always thought that was the strangest thing. They're jet black too. They are like jet black. Newfoundland sounds strange for some.
Right, because it's like this mix of like English with the old Scottish, Irish brog that it's odd. Thanks, West Waternay. Loki,
Oh no, I get it. My mom would agree too. I get it. Took me a minute.
Right, I know, because it comes off like it's.
I just thought Mark. I know it's sonar, Mark Short, but I just thought it was the strangest thing, and I could see why you want to paint your submarine black because it's used as a spy a tool, even though it's the size of a blue whale. They're huge. I never thought a submarine would be that big until I saw a picture, and I was like, "This is unfathomably huge." It was in the shipyards. They were like 10 or 11 stories high, like because you could count the scaffolding. You know, it was huge.
Yep.
The thing was huge. Submarine paint. I'm gonna rename this stream to submarine paint. And Godless Sewing cannot pronounce Waternay.
Nay, you still can't.
Nay, see,
And
see, I'm
nay,
not I can sew.
like we're
I can
going to
sew.
the all
Everything
down
else is
on the
negotiable.
bay where the watermelons grow. I shall not go.
Absolutely.
We're just gonna bring it back to Girl Scout songs. Yeah, we're a hot mess after 3 hours.
We are descending into our hot mess. But you are so welcome here. I just rant about sewing machines and sewing. I am so stoked that I got this Kenmore going and the light's still on. I should turn that off. You know what's really funny before I do jump off? Do you know the first thing I gauge on a sewing machine? I plug it in and every time I'm like, oh, light works. Light works. Like that's literally the first thing I gauge every sewing machine by.
That's so funny because I like my Kenmore, that light has been in there since like 2001 and it still works. I'm afraid the day I have to like replace the light bulb on that machine.
Give me parts number and I'll mail you one. I have so many in this room. If it's a Kenmore, I'm not kidding you.
All right. I'll
You know
send
what? One time,
my ruffler foot and my light bulb number.
exactly. I weirdly buy spare parts of sewing machines. Like someone's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Oh, I'll give you 50 cents for this." They're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Thank you." That's why. That's why I cruise the swap meets. I love the swap meets because they'll put random stuff out. I'm like, do they know that these are like these sewing machine parts are worth money? Like, you're right, Gilroy. You're right. I still think the Guns N' Roses song is "Take Me Down to Kansas City." Still to this day.
Poor There's some sugar on me. Or that's another one that I've heard.
Take me down to Kansas City where the grass is green and the girls are
Girls are
pretty.
pretty.
Absolutely, absolutely. At least that's how I gauge it. Like, because I've been electrocuted quite a few times by sewing machines. Quite a few times. So I've learned over the years.
Hence the 9 fire extinguishers.
Rubber gloves. I got my shoe. I got my rubber
Right,
shoe. My
grounding
sole.
shoes on.
I've learned. Even I have too many things plugged in this room, and I've learned so much that my microphone will shock me if I put my hair on it. If I brush past it, it shocks me. That's how much stuff is plugged in this room. I'm a mess. That's one thing. Like, you know, when I see those panel boxes with all of the like all the cords, it's like artwork. When they're organized a computer and they get all the cords and they zip tie them perfectly. I'm gonna take a picture one day of the spaghetti that is the cords under this desk. You would laugh at me.
Right, you
Every
don't have a
time.
toddler or an indoor cat.
No. And the funny thing is, the only toddler that comes over here is my ex-wife's son, and he walks in this room and he'll point there and say fire hazard. He's trained. He knows. Doesn't go near it. I taught him the word. No, I taught him fire hazard. Every time he walk in here, I'd say fire hazard. Now he doesn't go near it. He knows.
Yep.
Smart. Children are geniuses. Never put it past children. They will learn if you repeat yourself. If your mic's shocking me, then you need to look at your grounding. It's probably bad. That's good advice. It is shocking me. It is. And like I rarely do not wear long sleeve, but it's getting hot again. And so when I brushed against my mic, it snapped me the other day. I was like, oh, you shocked me.
Waterny, that's too funny. You got electrocuted on a Hamilton Beach 33 milkshake maker that didn't have a brush caps.
Whoa. That is terrifying. I've been electrocuted to the point where I've gone stiff and fell on a table. So that fear still runs through my body. It's fear. Yeah. Like, I've been electrocuted for real.
No tasers, no tasers.
It is alarming. And it's the strangest feeling because you still feel it after you've been electrocuted. It's literally a wave through your body. It's not fun. Not fun. I was up at the ranch, the building, and anyone who watches my videos, the gym that I skate in, it was built in 1955. Well, it's connected to another building that's like an old schoolhouse. And we were replacing the balusters. We were replacing all the lights. Well, my father went like this. He'd lick his finger and stick it in the socket. What he didn't tell me is that he turned the electricity off. So we had this really, really beautiful inspector lady that was like going through the ranch. And I was doing good the whole tour. I was doing good the entire tour. I stood up on the table. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to show you the difference between a building built in 1955 and a building that's modern. And I licked my thumb and it went zoop and it shot me back like a punch in the face. I went stiff and I landed on the table stiff. I was like, oh yeah. So don't try to show off, kids. Don't try to show off in front of a beautiful inspector.
Yeah, that's like Kilroy. Oh, yeah. Mark agrees. You need to check your grounding. And Kilroy was like, hasn't been right since they were off for 3 weeks after getting shocked with 90,000 volts.
Oh, yikes. Yikes.
Yeah, that's like touching a power line that's gone down.
One day I'll show the pictures from my car accident. It melted my engine. Still to this day, I marvel at how I survived that. That's why I keep that cowboy hat. That between wearing your seatbelt and wearing a big floppy hat, it saved my life. I am extremely accident prone. But I've learned over the years, that's why I come, like even tonight, usually I'll wear my Godless Sewing vest and I come wearing something pretty and smelling nice. I'm wearing work clothes because I've learned like oil splashes back on you, you know. Yes, Kilroy, I'm glad you're still with us. That's unreal. I've had a few near-death experiences. They are not fun. I get Liz does. Liz, she randomly sends me messages like, "Are you still alive? Don't plug. Do you remember the last time you? Do you know it was my first white rotary? I didn't realize that you couldn't plug in, like you shouldn't necessarily plug in something from 1910 right away. And I
Yeah.
thought I was recording, and I wasn't. But I plugged it in, and it shot out a like electro beam, like a villain, past my face, like. And I was like, and the funny thing is that I didn't unplug it, so it was jumping, and I had to unplug it. I'm just lucky I didn't set my garage on fire that day. I'm a walking, talking fire hazard. But like I said in the beginning of the stream, I have 9 fire extinguishers literally on that corner. I have 4 in the house and 1 in every bathroom because we still eat Taco Bell. I remember that. Yeah, that car accident was terrifying. That was like that car accident changed my life. I drive like a grandma now, and I respect the roads. That car accident changed my life, and I walk funny because of it. It took me a month to learn how to walk again. That was don't drive fast, kids. Don't drive fast.
The same way, don't drive your sewing machine faster than you feel comfortable.
Yes. I also used test mining equipment electronics that when they failed, they tripped 800 amp breakers. That's scarier than oh my gosh. Do you know what? I talk about this all the time because my predecessor was a electrician. I'm like the real life tool time. I think because the person before me knew everything that I do, and I end up in the hospital with one heck of a story. What story is that?
That's probably for a different night. I need to use the little sewist room and turn it into
All
a pumpkin.
right. Well, for everyone who's made it this far, I thank you. And for everyone who I can't pronounce your name, I apologize.
Water Nay, welcome
Waternay.
to the stream.
Do you have anything you'd like to shill?
I will be back on Sunday at Phoenix Electric Circus on the YouTubes, the Rumbles. I'm also on the Instagrams, the Twatters, and yeah, I sew and kvetch. Please be welcome. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and live stream also. Help promote the algorithms.
It's always a fun story when you mess up, like how Waternay thinks I hate her, but I absolutely love her name. And thank you for coming and stumbling upon my channel. I'm a mess. You know, I'm gonna get one of those things that says days without accidents, and it's just gonna constantly be on 0.
Like The Simpsons.
So, as always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll be here next week. I will be making a video about all the stuff that I've been sewing. I'm gonna make overalls. So, absolutely, you guys are totally welcome here. We'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you on Sunday. As always, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely see you next time. Later on.